Welcome, everyone, to the Four Post Massacre Podcast. I am, of course, your host. You can simply call me Zaya. As always, I am joined by my co-host, my colorful host, Mr. Adam Jackpot.
I got a new thing, by the way. Oh, no, don't call me that anymore, because I got a new thing. You
didn't run this by me.
Oh, I know I didn't run this by you. But I got this new, every week we get to try something new, because today, I'm not the pop father, but you're looking at Kevin Hash himself, Adam Jackpot in the building.
Fuck it.
Does this happen every episode?
Yes! Yes,
it's going to happen now.
Oh, Lord.
And by the sound of his voice, you can already tell, for those who don't know, you've probably heard it before, but joining us today, we've got none other than the owner of the Carpe Diem Network, the owner of Ring of Valiance, and the owner of She-Wolves Underground, Mr. DASHON WALTON himself.
The one and only, and don't you forget it, man.
Sean, what is your knowledge on professional wrestling? I gotta know.
Well, let's see. I would say on and off, my knowledge of wrestling goes back, I'd say about anywhere between 30 and 80 years, but more so in the 30-year range, considering like the Hogan era, the Iron Sheik, and then onward to like Michaels and Hart, and then Austin and Rock and all that stuff, and all the other indie promotions in between during those eras.
So you're very well versed in the realm of professional wrestling, as far as popular wrestling in history goes.
To a very high degree, yes, but like there's also the other small promotions that have a lot of promising talent, but if they really want to thrive in the business, 9 times out of 10 don't go to the WWE, because 9.5 times out of 10 you're likely to get the proverbial, I don't know if we can curse on the podcast here, but
just let it fucking fly.
All right, then you'll likely get the shit end of the stick 9.5 times out of 10.
I have to say, like 9 times out of 10, I'm going to have to agree with you on that sentiment.
Right.
Don't worry, Walton, because I can guarantee you that your knowledge of popular professional wrestling will not come into hand on this show, because we've got a bunch of shit from other places, from the Fed. Well, we're going to be talking about the Fed. We're going to be talking about a specific someone that recently went back to the Fed, more noticeably in our news segment. Oh, yeah, you didn't think we're going to miss out on that, did you?
Oh, no, I knew this was going to get... fucking Zelina Vega. They had trended. I don't even know what the hell to call it.
We'll get there.
We will get there. But for right now, let's go on to our AEW Dynamite review.
Dynamite. Cody Rhodes, Justice, my dad. Dynamite.
All right, now you guys are going to have to brush me up on a little bit of AEW, because it's been a minute since I watched it.
Well, to go straight forward into it, this was the last AEW Dynamite in front of Daly's Place. Daly's Place has been the host of AEW Dynamite for the past 15 months during this whole pandemic era, and they've to say that they've created a lot of moments during this time would be a big understatement. I mean,
indeed.
Yeah, I wanted to just mention before we get to it, because I think we better just get it out of the way now. Since you're mentioning all these grand moments, just a little opinion on that very well done highlight reel, pretty much.
Oh my God.
Thank you to Jacksonville.
I loved it.
There were so many things in that video that I forgot. I forgot Matt Cardona was in AEW.
Yeah, but he was in there for like a good 6-7 weeks, no?
Yeah, he was at a pay-per-view.
He was?
I remember him debuting on a Dynamite and then being there for like 7 weeks. Then I think he went to Impact, and then I think he went on the Indies to fight Nick Gage or something.
Oh, I can't fucking wait, but that's not now. But yeah, no, very just like an emotional, because there are a lot of the Brody stuff obviously was involved in there. but also emotional in a good way. You know, crazy how much they've done in this pandemic era. You know, to say that they are the standard bearer of how to, if ever again, this is how you do a pandemic era thing. I mean, they've made
Exactly.
You know, they made TV so easy to watch during a time where it was so hard to live.
Right. And not to say nobody else has done the same thing, like Impact and WWE, but like AEW brought something unique and different to the table with the way they handled all this.
Going back to that initial Cody Rhodes promo in front of no one and Kenny Omega, and then like look at where we are now. The Elite doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
Like the Dark Order are massive baby faces. Like Moxley was still champion. It's crazy. Like in just 1 year, the landscape really just—it's
completely different.
And they were all able to do that.
It was completely different from where we were a whole year ago, a whole year and a half ago, which is insane.
And to just watch that video was like so like just it felt good. You know, I was like, yeah, shit. We kept going and we made it, and now look where we are. And good for them, you know, good for them. I just wanted to get that part out of the way so we don't dwell too much on that video at the end.
So, we open up this show, of course, with the Tag Team Eliminator match. It is the Young Bucks taking on Eddie Kingston and Penta El Zero M. If Eddie and Penta win this match, they get their shots at the Tag Team titles on the next show. Eddie, Penta pretty much come out. They do their usual entrance. It's whatever.
Pentagon still rocking the
He loves the Joker gear. He loves
right.
it.
Like, and I love it too, but like it's like at the end of the day, you gotta like have variety, and there's nothing against them for wanting to dress up like the Joker, but every now and again you gotta change it up. Like his looks in Lucha Underground, they may have looked the same sometimes, but if you pay close attention, each time he came out, he always came out for whatever reason, to me, looked different every time.
Look, all I'm saying is, if it worked for Sting for a whole year, then I don't see how I won't work for Penta.
But that's not who we have to talk about. We gotta talk about Nick and Matt Jackson. The story of the night is facial hair. Facial hair is our story. We have mini Hulk Hogan's.
What is going on?
You don't care, and it's the best.
Fucking Matt comes out with his 80s Miami Vice porn stash.
Oh, Lord.
Fucking Nick Jackson. Oh my fucking God. What happened to this man?
Please don't get me started on Kenny looking like Triple H in 2005.
Oh my God, we'll get to him. Oh, don't worry, we will get to him.
Kenny.
Also, what's up with this?
No.
They have a what is Nick? Nick's got like a chain that's attached to his hat that's also attached to his earring.
Yeah.
I don't know. These guys are shot and
losing their minds.
I'm so happy to have the Bucks back.
They're so.
Listen, I would much rather have Kenny Omega in the middle of the ring saying 69 me Don than to ever have to see him look like a fucking off-brand Lemmy Kilmister. That man is rolling over in his grave as we speak, just by seeing that nonsense.
Look, it's great heel heat. All right?
Great heel heat.
Look at him. Look at him. You immediately want to punch him in his face. It's amazing. Like, they went from douchebags to just absolute asshats in a matter of moments, thanks to the fucking facial hair, and it's great. So this match is basically what you think it is. Fucking Eddie is pretty much, you know, the tough guy. He's the brawler. He tosses the Bucks around with exploder suplexes and all that other stuff. Like, he's the All Japan dude. He's very much, he heavily influences on All Japan stuff. Penta's doing his wacky Joker lucha shit in the ring.
Oh, Lord.
He does the Cerro Nieto stuff. The Bucks are just they're only in it for themselves at this point. Like that's who they're just mocking old wrestlers and
Yep, they're all
doing the taunts,
sharpshooters and taunts and suckets and
the sharpshooter, the most legendary move of all time.
Every move you can think of is what they're pulling out now.
You know, when people like the Young Bucks in the business, right, basically just pull out every move out of their bag of tricks, it makes me kind of feel, in a sense, like they're somewhat one-dimensional. It's like nothing is original anymore. Not super kicks, not DDTs, not even destroyers anymore. It's like the last time I saw a cool destroyer was when Ricky Morton did it, and that was like last summer, if I recall.
Oh
Oh,
well.
But it's like it takes a lot for moves in the industry, especially whether it's in like the independent scene or in the pros or even in our community, the call community. It takes a lot for a move to be original. And it's very, very rare when you see something that you have never seen before, ever.
To be fair,
I don't want to jump the gun, but there is something on the other show we'll be talking about later on that I have not seen before. And speaking of Canadian destroyers,
to be fair to the Young Bucks and this whole gimmick, because I get what you're saying, I think that's kind of the point of what they're trying to make with this whole thing, is that they're just being assholes, and so they're just stealing from like all the other great wrestlers and shit. Like I think that's what the gimmick's supposed to be. Like I understand, like you're obviously like you've got a point there, but I'm just saying that I think that's the point they're trying to make with this whole new Young Bucks role that they're going in.
I know, but the issue with that is that they've been doing this since PWG, like mimicking gimmicks, mimicking wrestlers that are in WWE or Impact or whatever. And it's like it's fine when a certain person does it and when they don't do it excessively, but when it comes to the Young Bucks, it's like damn near every match, whether it's Ring of Honor, Impact, AEW, PWG, it's like super kick, destroyer, super kick, shooting star, super kick, 450, etc., etc. It's like it's nothing against them because that's their moveset and they're high flyers in the business and they have every right to be. But people get bored with that kind of fighting style. People get bored with hell, I'm pretty sure people have even gotten bored, and this is with all due respect, with the way Karrion Kross wrestles. People have gotten bored with the way Moxley wrestles. It's like the business is a storytelling business, and it takes a lot for people to be original and do something or say something that has never been done or said before. But moments like that, as I said, happen few and far between, whether it be in the real wrestling world or in the call wrestling world or even in gaming and media in general. Like, it takes a lot to be original, but you just have to have the right formula of stuff to make something original, and it should be fine, but you can't be excessive and you can't be repetitive with it, because then everybody's just going to get bored and want to tune out and tune into something else.
And I think the Bucks kind of realized that when they were with their whole face thing, which is why they're trying to do this whole heel thing now.
Right.
And I think that they're, like, to me, I think they've gotten a little bit better in, like, you know, changing up their style and being condescending pricks like, oh, we know that we're the best.
Oh, no, they have.
So that's just my whole take on it. I can see where you're coming from. But I think the real story of this match here is, like, fucking Eddie and Penta work very well as a tag team. And you can hear it from this fucking crowd. They were so ready for them to win this match. And thankfully, that's what happened, because Penta gets a hot tag. He goes wild on the Bucks for a little bit. He does, like, a sick, like, I don't know what, it's like he did, like, a turnaround code red I've never seen before, which was dope. He starts doing his whole Cero Miedo shtick. Of course, the Good Brothers and Cutler start getting themselves involved. But
no more Luke Gallows.
What do you mean no more? Dude, big LG! Big
Big hell.
No.
Exactly.
No.
You know,
No. The ending
Luke,
of this match, though.
Luke
Oh,
Gallows, I'm kind of, no pun intended, but Luke Gallows over the last...
Greatest big
I don't
man
know.
of all time. I know. I get it. Like, you and me are on the same page.
No, sir, no.
He's on my page.
Luke Gallows over the last, I'd say, couple years has gotten, no pun intended, lukewarm to me.
Wow.
Like, if anything, I consider, God rest his soul, I consider Brody Lee a much better big man than he'll ever be. That's just me. And that's not me being biased, and that's not me saying that to get cool points, as the young people of the world like to say, just because of the fact that Brody is no longer with us. But Brody could work any kind of style or work with any person who had a different style than him. Like, Moxley had somewhat of a wild, hardcore kind of shoot fight style, and Brody is able to work that style. Or if he was to work with somebody like Phoenix, for example, like, he would be able to adapt and adjust to Phoenix's style. Or if he was to work with somebody like an intergender thing, like with Chris Statlander, for example, he would be able to adapt to Chris Statlander's style, so on and so forth. And that goes for not just Brody Lee, but that goes for just about everybody in AEW and everybody in the whole business, including WWE. But I feel like it's because of whatever sponsors WWE has and the partnerships that they have. That's more than likely the main reason why they do not want to pull the trigger on all systems go with intergender wrestling. That's just me.
Wow.
I do want to say the ending of this match was extremely funny.
So, I was about to bring that up. So,
Because I guess you just don't... I guess when you get scared, you just don't know how to let go.
So that has, I think it was Penta for like in a
No, they have Eddie set up for the super kick party, and then they get all the super kick parties, and then they're gonna go after Penta as Eddie's down. And here comes Brandon Cutler with the cold spray.
Yeah, and
so Brandon Cutler gets on the apron, and all right, we know where this is going. Cold spray into Penta's eye.
Yeah, and then Matt has Penta. Penta moves out of the way. Fucking Cutler just
and Brandon Cutler starts.
He doesn't stop. He doesn't stop.
He starts freaking. He's panicking like a little girl. Like, oh no, what do I do? What do I do? Let go of the bottle, Brandon. Nope, he's still just.
Which would then lead to, of course, the Bullet Club Hunter.
No, I'm not even calling him that anymore.
The Bullet Club Hunter.
The GTA spawner, Frankie Kazarian.
Oh my fucking god.
This man materializes when he has spots now.
Where the hell does he come from? Where is he fucking
there now?
He just transports right over to fucking Cutler. He takes Cutler off. He takes Cutler's head off, and then he's out of there. Fucking Penta does like a tope on Hilo on the Good Brothers. Gets back in the ring. They set up Matt for a Fear Factor Hurricane combination for the 3 count, and they get their victory and they get their title matches at Road Rager this coming Wednesday.
Even though we've seen this match was still great.
It was awesome. This
match was still so good. And the fact that officially on Dynamite this Wednesday, it's going to be a street fight now for the tag titles.
Yeah.
So, I'm all down. Let Eddie and Penta get some weapons in this. I don't know. Is Phoenix hurt?
I don't know.
Oh
wait, yeah, he was. He was hurt.
He is.
He is hurt.
What is he hurt from?
I don't remember. I just remember that there was a report that he was hurt.
Well, whatever it is, he's obviously on his way back. He was just announced for Triple Mania in August.
Phoenix.
So
That's
going to
be
happening.
We're reviewing that show.
Oh, we're totally going to be reviewing.
Oh,
we should do a live.
Okay, I'm reading it here on the Wrestle Talk website that apparently Phoenix has a groin injury.
Oh, that sucks.
And it shouldn't be too long.
It shouldn't be too bad, though. Yeah. So but it does feel like Phoenix comes, he's on a hot streak, and then he's hurt again.
Right, yeah. kind of like how Kenta was in NXT.
Exactly, yeah.
Hot streak injury, and then
but
nothing.
I don't know, for some reason, and it could just be me. We're in front of a live crowd again, outside of Jacksonville. I'm thinking new champs.
Mm.
I'm thinking new champs.
I don't know. I don't know.
For a certain reason.
Okay.
I think Penta is going to get assaulted backstage.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
so you think you're just going to have Eddie go at it alone and he's going to win?
I mean, I think what Adam's trying to get at here is he can see Penta getting assaulted backstage, and then Eddie is probably going to look like he's going it alone, but then out comes Moxley. That's how I see it. Or out comes Phoenix from his injury or whatever.
Dude, if that were to happen, that'd be a great way to... Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I remember a few months ago, if I'm not mistaken, Eddie was a heel, and he had, I think, Butcher and Blade and Penta and Phoenix all in his little group, and then this was when travel restrictions were still in place, and I don't know if we pronounce it Pac or Pac or whatever, but he was still stuck in England with no way to get back to the States for AEW shows. And he had came back in the middle of the whole Eddie leading his group thing, and I think the Death Triangle, that was the name of the group, had gotten back together, and Eddie and Pac had feuded for a little bit, and now I guess Eddie, Phoenix, and Penta are as a team again. Matter of fact, speaking of Pac, whatever happened to him? Like, is he still on AEW, or is he injured?
I think he's back in England, isn't he?
I don't know, because everybody thought he was back in England, and then, the next week he was, on Dynamite again. He might just be, going back and forth since
he
pandemic.
Might be.
But I was going to say, I think Pentagon's going to go down, and we're going to get the return of Mox.
That would be... Right. I think that would be the...
And I think Mox and Eddie are going to win the tag belts.
I would not be against that if that were to happen. I would not be against it at all. But after that, we get a backstage segment between Christian and Jungle Boy. They pretty much go over like, hey, man, keep your head up. You almost had Kenny Omega there. And, you get other chances. And tonight you're going to go for your 50th win in AEW. No one's ever done that before. And this would lead to Luchasaurus coming in. We get a kind of... get an intense stare down between Christian and Luchasaurus. He's like,
"Give me it, give me it all, give me it."
Hey man, thanks for looking after my boy here, but you know what? I'm back here, and you can kindly fuck off. This is basically what happened. And so,
which again, I feel this is just adding more fuel to what I said last week about this eventual Christian Cage heel turn.
It might look that way. It might be the way that they're going, which would be very interesting. And hey, especially if you were going to do like Jungle Boy and Christian, like if that's going to be a feud going forward, that'd be great. After that though,
Ethan, Tony Schiavone
in the ring with Ethan Page and Scorpio Sky, and they're in here to talk about the coffin match at the upcoming Road Rager.
Well, no.
Well, we'll get to that. We're getting to that because it was
okay.
Ethan.
I have the reason for it. why it was pushed.
Well, I gotta give the people the kayfabe reason why.
I know. I give the kayfabe, and then I'll break kayfabe and tell everybody the sad reason.
So, Ethan's in the ring. He's basically saying, I've done all this stuff to Darby. He won't fucking go away. And he's all like, it's not enough to beat you down physically. I have to beat you, mentally or whatever. He's like, when you think of going for a coffin drop, you're going to think of me putting you in the coffin or some bullshit like that. Yeah, he goes on and on. Meanwhile, during this, the fucking crowd's chatting, "We can't hear you." Was that ever brought to attention? Why couldn't they hear him? Was the microphone not working, or?
I heard him.
Yeah, I know I heard, but there's people in the crowd chatting "We can't hear you."
I think that was just a matter of.
I wanted to know if that
maybe there was a mic issue, but
yeah.
I mean, if you guys were able to hear him, then
yeah, I don't know.
I think it's just a matter of the crowd just being dicks.
Probably.
At least it wasn't a what chant.
Yeah, true.
At least it wasn't a what chant.
Yeah.
God. Have they had what chants?
Yeah, they did it last week.
During this exact same segment.
Oh, God.
The what chants have returned. Yes, crowds are back. Everything is great, except the what chants.
Fucking what chants? No!
Listen, we only have one person to blame for that.
Yeah,
Fucking
thanks,
Austin.
Austin. But this pretty much prompts the return of Sting! Sting's back. He's not home anymore. Darby said, "You can come to work this week."
So Darby and Sting.
Come on, Dad. Come on, Pop.
Darby and Sting pretty much go and they start running. Or they start going to town onto Scorpio.
Well,
and
no.
Ethan.
Before that, Sting comes out with a coffin. And then there's a really cool little visual on the screen, and Darby's got a flamethrower, okay. And then Darby pops out of the coffin, and we got a brawl happening.
So Darby goes after Ethan, of course. Scorpio and Sting still going at it.
It's a scorpion death drop for his troubles.
Yeah, Darby rakes up the ass of Ethan. Ethan gets out there, and Ethan's like, "You know what? No, the match is off. We're not doing this coffin match anymore until
you write it down."
Yeah, you write it. We get it in writing when we're doing it, and then maybe I'll see you at Fyter Fest for the coffin match.
Yes.
So now give me the real reason on why this is being pushed back.
To break the kayfabe just a little bit. Recently was it Miami? Yes, it was in Miami. Right. I'm trying to find on June 24th.
Yeah, there was
a massive building collapse.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Shit.
And as of right now, 28 people are presumed dead, with 117 still missing.
I thought it was 124.
Well,
maybe I heard it.
Well, as of today, July 5th, that we're recording this, the death toll was up to 28 with 117 missing. So I guess more people were found dead.
Okay.
But, to get all that sadness out of the way, that's the real reason this is happening. They haven't specified, but a lot of people are going with the fact that maybe doing a coffin match. Let's not do the coffin match right now.
It would basically be in
bad taste, especially, with them being in Miami.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it looks like it's going to get pushed to one of the Fyter Fest weeks or even Fight for the Fallen. The match is still going to happen, but out of respect for what did occur, that is why all of a sudden it was like, oh, okay, the match is off now. And people were like, well, what's going on here? Do a little research, and you find out pretty quickly, all right, I get it.
Yeah.
So
okay.
It's still going to happen. It looks like next week or this week we're going to get the contract signing between Ethan and Darby for the coffin match, so we'll see where that goes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Up next, though, we have a fun little match.
Jack Evans versus JB. I thought this was disappointing.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, Jack Evans versus...
And it's because of what happened before the match, too. Because it's like, they pretty much go to Artie. I mean, he's like, I'm sending Jack Evans after you, and I don't give a shit if he wins or loses. I just want him to hurt you, which basically gives you an idea of what Jack Evans' role here in the fucking Hardy family office is, which is
happy to see Jack Evans on TV.
I mean, true, but it's like,
did this feel kind of like an elevation match?
It did.
But you need a little bit of levity in between, you know.
Right.
Plus, you didn't even hurt him that bad. Jungle Boy pretty much kicked his ass.
Exactly. Plus, Jack Evans isn't really, at least to me, and y'all could correct me if I'm wrong, but Jack Evans, to me, he hasn't really been all that over with me. Like, in Lucha Underground, he hit his peak in terms of overness, and like way back, even when he was in AAA wrestling with Teddy Hart, fuck him, by the way.
Yeah.
Like back in like 06, 07, like Jack Evans was like hot. And now it's like his career is basically winding down. It's like, what the fuck else is there for him to do? It's like, how much longer can he keep going? How much longer is he going to think in the back of his mind that he can still go, that he's still over with the audience? When it's like a whole younger generation, a whole fresher generation, that some of them know how to separate fiction and reality, or separate kayfabe and non-kayfabe and all that. And I'll get to who I mean by that in a few minutes, because thinking about him just makes my fucking head hurt. But circling back to Jack Evans, I feel like Jack Evans, his time is nearly coming to an end, because it's like when it comes to the industry and how long people can survive in it physically, I guess an old saying does apply here to some degree or another, different strokes for different folks. I guess that's how it would go in this case.
I just don't know what more you could possibly... I don't know what he can possibly do more. I feel like he's been around for so long and he's been such a name. It's like, kind of like, well, what else is there for him to do? Because they're obviously...
Matter of fact, let me look up how long he's been in this industry. Jack Evans.
Like, they're not going to push him as a main event star.
I bet you, though, he's probably a great hand backstage when it comes towards a lot of these new guys who do the high-flying stuff.
Oh, I'm sure.
I do think... I love him and Angelico together. If Jack eventually decides to say, I want to wrap it up in the ring, I'd love to still see him as Angelico's mouthpiece, because Jack Evans can still work a crowd so good.
Right. So I'm reading this on Wikipedia. Yeah, it's not the most reliable resource to use, but Evans apparently started in September of 2000, so he's going on 21 years this September.
Jesus Christ.
So...
And I've been watching him for about half of that.
Yeah. And it's like he's still got a lot left in the tank, but it's like...
He still can go. Apparently this was a match that they did on Dark.
Right.
It looks like this is something that they're doing, is like, if a match is like has a good showcase on Elevation or Dark, they're like, okay, let's give it to TV and see how it does.
Yeah, which is
clearly this one had a lot of shenanigans involved in it, but for the little bit that I got out of it, I enjoyed.
It was basically Evans, playing the heel factor. He didn't really do anything that meticulous. Like, he was told to hurt him. He didn't really do anything that brutal to Jungle Boy to warrant,
No, he gets his ass beat for 2 minutes.
Fuck, he gets his ass beat. He goes to the top rope. Jungle Boy takes him off. He gets him into the Tree of Woe position. He gives him the fucking drop kick, puts him in the snare trap, gets the tap out victory for the victory. I said for the victory twice. I'm pissed.
Yep. Here comes. Well, with that, officially, Jungle Boy is the first wrestler in AEW to have 50 consecutive 50 victories. Which
what do you get, Jungle Boy? Absolutely fuck all.
That's not true.
You get Anna J. That's what he gets. That's what that motherfucker gets.
Good for him.
And listen, I will say this now.
Why not?
Say this now in front of everybody.
It's a good consolation prize.
Anna Jay seems more valuable than the AEW championship.
Yeah, no fucking kidding.
Really, Junk Boy won more than Kenny Omega if you really think about it.
This dude's got hot ass Anna Jay, and he's got Luchasaurus. I feel like he's winning.
And Marco Stunt too. We can't forget about him.
Yeah, Marco's there. But
Marco's there. You leave Marco alone, okay? He is a fucking star.
Oh, I love Marco. I can't wait to see him at Homecoming in a few weeks. But Luchasaurus, come on.
Yeah.
That's my Dino Daddy.
That's his Dino Daddy.
God,
Dino Daddy.
please don't call him Dino Daddy.
I love that, man.
After
that, here come the Hardy
family office. They
are headed out of the ring.
But they don't get far, because here comes Jurassic Express and Christian. And
Christian!
fighting off, they fight him off for a little bit. Of course, Matt Hardy and Christian do their usual shtick again. Matt goes after for a little bit. Christian has him on the ropes. He finally looks like he's going to get the one-up on Matt Hardy. But of course, he gets stopped by Jack Evans. He gets rid of Jack Evans, but Hardy runs away, and Christian is left there. And oh, that crazy Hardy.
You know, I just want to know when the point will come where Matt and Christian end up in a ladder match in AEW. Because I feel like at some point that's going to come. But then again, both of them are in their, I think, either early 40s or mid 40s. I could be wrong. I don't know. It's like Christian's basically on his last legs of his career, but he's basically in the best shape of his life. I mean, he made his return to the ring at the Royal Rumble, but when it comes to him being in AEW, I feel like it's gonna be somewhat of a tiny good rehash of when he went to TNA, with him having a little few small semi-meaningless feuds before moving on to the World Championship and winning that. Because eventually it's going to come down to Christian and Omega for the championship, should Omega beat the champion by that point.
Mm-hmm.
So you think Christian's winning the world title?
I think he is, but more than likely he won't. I have faith in him, but
I've been saying for weeks at this point, this is all building to some... I thought it was going to happen at Road Rager. That was not announced. That we were going to get some big, 8-man... and then that would lead to Christian and Matt having a match at one of these Fyter Fest Fight for the Fallen things, which would then lead to Christian and Omega.
They'll probably have that at All Out then, if that's the case.
Because, I still see it's Hangman winning that belt from Omega. But, look, again, it's a nice little feud. This goes, I don't know if you're going to subs eye, but I know that you've had this whole issue, I guess, where... Jungle Boy just fought for the world title, and now he's in this kind of a feud.
Right.
No, I think this is it's not like fucking Orange Cassidy, where it's obvious they don't know what the fuck they're doing with him right now. They seem to have a plan with Jungle Boy moving forward with this whole Christian and Jurassic Express thing. So I'm perfectly fine with that. He has a planned story, which is what's important to me, is that you have a planned out story going forward, which is the last thing I could possibly say for fucking Orange Cassidy. But after that, we get MJF
that fucking cocksucking son of a bitch. MJF.
Pretty much says that, Jericho, you're doing all this lowbrow stuff. You're spraying me with mimosa and fucking you're doing all this other crap. I thought you were the greatest of all time. I thought you were bigger than that, but I guess not.
Okay, see, let me say this about MJF, and this ties into what I was talking about a few minutes ago about people not being able to separate kayfabe and non-kayfabe, or kayfabe and reality, however we want to go about this. Maxwell Jacob Friedman the first.
You don't know he's the first.
He may be the first, he may be the second, he may be the 784th. I don't give a shit. I straight up don't like that motherfucker, and yes, that is a shoot. I don't know him personally, but from what I've seen in the business, he seems like the type of motherfucker that lives the gimmick far too much. And at fan signings, for example, I think a year and a half ago, the motherfucker flipped off a kid. Now, if he's being the best heel he can be by bringing back the old school mentality of keeping kayfabe back in the 80s and the 70s and all that, when breaking kayfabe was extremely taboo back then yes, I understand where MJF is coming from. But from what I can gather and from what I see, he looks like he lives the gimmick far too much.
It does become a bit of a problem where it's like you don't know what is real and what is, not real with MJF, considering he's like this all the time. Like, he literally doesn't let anybody see him outside of his wrestling persona.
Right, like he doesn't let anybody see him like vulnerable or giggle hee ha ha kind of stuff around everybody. Like it, I don't know. With MJF, like when I first saw him in action and this was the first time I seen him in action at All In a couple years back. That was the first time I seen him, and I'm like, okay, maybe this guy is a good heel. Maybe he's got something special. And then I kept on doing my research on him all the way up until now. He's got something special, don't get me wrong. He's got what it takes to be AEW champion. And he says he's got what it takes to carry AEW for the next quarter century. He can go longer than that, he knows it. He's just lowballing himself in that regard. To put it simply though, he comes off like in shoot, I feel like he comes off super condescending, like a major dickhead, and not in a good way. And I don't know if there's been complaints of him backstage having that kind of attitude. Maybe there's people in the AEW locker room that have seen MJF in rare form, but with me, it's like, I don't know, he comes off as just a fucking dick-headed douchebag who doesn't know when to say when. That kind of reminds me of the call community too, but we're not here to talk about that. Maybe next podcast we will, but circling back to AEW, long story short, I just don't like MJF at all.
And
he's a great wrestler, but I don't like his personality.
To completely fair, that's absolutely fair, because I know a lot of people who don't like it as well. They think he's just being a dick and just hiding his wrestling persona as a reason to be a dick. So I know you're not the only person to think, because I've seen a lot of people have that same opinion. At the same time, though, I think that's what draws a lot of people to him, because you don't see people do this ever. Like, just stay in character. Like every time you go onto Twitter, you get to see almost every wrestler's real side to them, for better or for worse. Sometimes,
exactly.
Most of the time,
Zelina Vega, how are you doing?
Fucking worst. We'll get there, but I think
what union?
Oh my god, we'll get to that. I think what he's doing right now, he's keeping his character close to him. What he's doing, and it's getting him heat. It's getting him over, and that's all you can ask for right now.
Right.
The fact that he's 24, 23, like he's gonna have years to like evolve that, and eventually he'll probably learn to like break that monotony of him being the gimmick a little bit as he gets older. But I guess right now he needs it to establish it, because it's still so young for people who don't know it. But everybody who's been watching him beforehand understand, like, okay, we get it now.
All right. So apparently MJF is 25 years old.
Yeah, so no,
he's got a lot of time.
And say, like, if he's the exact same like this in, say, 5 years, I can get more people starting to turn on him in the wrong way.
Right. Like, so far, he's entertaining on TV as a heel. Like that time when he turned on Cody and that one fan threw a fucking soda or a beer at him as he was walking up the ramp. Like, that was good heel work. When it gets outside the ring, though, I feel like he lives the gimmick far too much. Like, you got to be able to separate kayfabe and reality, like I said. But at the same time, there's also other wrestlers on like social media, like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Like, they're the biggest sweethearts in the world, but they're also dickheads when they need to be. MJF is a dickhead all the time, and he does not need to do that.
I don't know. I see too many dumb people, especially in wrestling Twitter already. So I'm just kind of like, if you want to do your shit, just do your shit. Like, it's whatever at this point. But
Right.
basically, he's like, we'll have a face-to-face with Jericho at Road Rager, get this thing signed up so that after I beat you, you never come after me again. And he focuses on Guevara. Says this.
He does have to follow the stipulations that MJF is going to put forth, though.
Yes.
Right.
After that, MJF targets Guevara, saying people are going to watch this match because they want to figure out who the future is in AEW. And he says, I think, Sammy, that's you, because I'm the now, and you're going to find that out because I'm MJF and I'm better than you and all that other shit.
I mean, I'll be blunt here. I think both Sammy and MJF are the future of not just AEW, but the whole industry as a whole. Because Sammy isn't that much older than MJF, but at the same time, it's like they're both so young. Like, they both came into the industry, let me look it up, and all that so I don't mess up. Oh, Sammy's been around quite a while, so... But yeah, in all honesty, they're both still fairly young, especially Sammy Guevara, because he's been around, 10, almost 11 years, and MJF's been around about 5. So they've got a long way to go in the industry. Guys like them, Jungle Boy, Marco Stunt. Who else is a young wrestler in AEW? Chris Statlander. She's like not even 26 years old yet, and she's got a bright future ahead of her. Hikaru Shida. She's been around for a while. She's been around for a while, exactly, but she's basically in the prime of her career. Like, she's one of those wrestlers, and I'm going to circle back to MJF in a second, but she's one of those wrestlers, just like the other aforementioned stars that I've named, that are either in their prime and just getting started, or have not hit their prime yet and don't realize how far they can go and how big they can become, especially when they stay on the right path.
So after that, we get Andrade promo with Alex Marvez, and he said, like, hey, Andrade, I heard you had a big announcement. What the fuck was up with that? And he's like, well, I had an announcement until fucking Matt something came and interrupted me. So you know what? How about this for an announcement? Next week, Andrade El Idolo makes his debut for AEW Dynamite, taking on Matt something. It's going to be Matt something against Andrade at Road Rager.
It'll be Matt Sydal, and I'm
Matt Sydal.
Yeah, that's what I said. Matt something.
Promo didn't do it for me.
Was it because it was in Spanish?
No, it was the something thing. It's like, it's not clever or creative. I get, like, because of the language barrier, maybe he doesn't know much English, but then at that point, since they're doing subtitles, just give me a flat out Spanish promo then and let him go off. Like, this whole, like, in Matt something, in this something, I'm like, this isn't the kind of heel heat or, like, I want to hear him say. This is kind of just like, whatever.
Yeah, even still, though, like, language barrier or not, I mean, he's basically engaged to Ric Flair's daughter, Charlotte Flair, and she's obviously teaching him English, just like he's teaching her Spanish. So it's like they're learning a lot from each other, not just as wrestlers, but as people, as
I hope he starts,
man and wife soon to be.
You know, I hope Rick is teaching him some things, because, like, this promo was just not it.
Right, but when it comes to Andrade, I feel like even when his promos are bad, like, I feel like I like his promos a tiny, tiny bit more than MJF's, simply because of the kind of person MJF is. And I don't want to dwell on that, but that's just me. But Andrade, with how everything has gone for him since his release from WWE, first of all, I'm surprised they allowed him to keep the Andrade part of his name. I don't know if it was a legal thing that allowed him to keep it, but I'm happy that he was able to.
Well, that actually seems to be a thing that's been happening a lot lately to these people who have been let go, is they've kind of been keeping some part of their name. Like Steve Cutler, who's now Steve Macklin in Impact, he's Steve Macklin. Wesley Blake is like Wesley something. Like for somehow these people are able to keep a portion of their name. Now I don't know if that's part of the new policy or whatever they're doing, but
I don't know.
It's been a lot more frequent. You get released and like isn't Eric Redbeard, like he got to keep Eric, so it's like it's interesting how
I think it's like the whole the thing is like it's the full name. He can't go by Eric Rowan, but since they can't own the name Eric, he can still go by Eric and then a different last name. You know what I mean? Like they can't trademark a first name. And they can't trademark the man's middle name as well. But yeah, Andrade versus Matt Something Road Rager. I'm looking forward to that.
I think Matt Sydal and Andrade are going to have a great match.
They're good.
Well, I mean, considering the kind of wrestlers the both of them are, like, if they don't have a great match, I will be very, very shocked because they are both extremely talented individuals, especially considering how long both of them have been in the industry. If they have a piss poor match, which should be impossible for them, I don't know where the hell they can go from there, but they are more than likely going to have not just a phenomenal match, but they're probably going to steal the show.
Probably. I wouldn't, I don't know if I would put money on it based on the tag team title match, but I would not be shocked. But after that, we get Kenny Omega coming down with his beautiful Lenny facial hair. It's so good. So good. He's in the ring with Tony Schiavone. And he pretty much takes control of this whole promo, saying like, Tony, last week Tony, before we came out here, you told me like, how do you, after accomplishing everything, how do you stay motivated? How do you find that next goal in which you want to accomplish? And Tony's like, I didn't fucking ask you a goddamn thing. And so Omega's like, well, I'll tell you, you keep going, but he then just he takes control of the promo again. It's like he keep going because that's what winners do, blah blah blah. I've beaten the best high flyer. I've beaten the toughest man in AEW. I've beaten the highest drawing man in AEW, and now I've beaten AEW's brightest future star. And he's like, what? And so with that, I guess I've got no more challengers. Oh, would you look at that? All of a sudden, nobody's left around. I've beaten literally everyone. But no, not so fast. Because then Dark Order's music plays. All of Dark Order comes out. And Omega's pretty much like, what the hell are you guys even doing out here? You guys don't even have enough singles win to possibly go up against me. What, are you going to send 5 after me? You wouldn't even last 2 minutes against me. I thought that was funny. And Evil Uno pretty much says, you're right. None of us have, the singles win to fight you for your belt. But we know somebody who does. And he says, and we're basically coming out here on his behalf and to challenge and Omega's. They don't say his name, obviously, but they're obviously talking about Hangman here. Omega's like, if I think I know who you're talking about here, I don't think he would like you speaking on his behalf. I don't think he has the guts to face me, and I don't think he has the guts. He would think he would have the right to call himself a champion. So unless you guys are done, I'm going to leave. Fuck you. Good night. Goodbye. Bang. All that other shtick. And Omega's like, well, I'll tell you. If I think I know who you're talking about here, I don't think he would like you speaking on his behalf. I don't think he has the guts to face me, and I don't think he has the guts. He would think he would have the right to call himself a champion. So unless you guys are done, I'm going to leave. Fuck you. Good night. Goodbye. Bang. All that other shtick. So it has to be All Out because they're
do you want to just lump in the other segment then? Since it's like, well, it's not that long. That's why.
Okay, well,
so later on in the night, crazy Alex Marvez, because he's everywhere. he just can. He's in the Dark Order locker room, and here comes that person they were talking about.
Yeah, Hangman.
The aforementioned Hangman Page, and Hangman is pissed.
You're like, guys, what the hell was that? And he's like, you going out there, you're speaking for me now? And he's like, what the hell is going on? You don't think I can do this by myself? It's like, they're like, no, Hangman, we think you can do it by yourself. We just think you're...
Yeah, he says, do you think I'm afraid of Kenny? And Colt Cabana's like, nah, we think you're afraid of failure. But they believe in him. Yep. Colt Cabana believes in you. And if Colt Cabana believes in you, man,
well, you gotta
exactly.
You gotta go.
Can't you believe? Exactly. It's Colt Cabana.
When you got the Colt Cabana stamp of approval, the sky's the limit.
So all the Dark Order pretty much tell him, you got this, it's your time.
They saved the final part for Alex here for some reason.
Yeah, the last part goes to Alex Reynolds.
Yeah, he's like, hey man, this is your time. You need to go for it, man. And he just leaves and gets the big crowd pop. Good for Alex Reynolds, dude. He got the final crowd pop. It was great.
So, and Hangman just stays there and he ponders, thinking, maybe they right. Maybe they right.
Oh,
like I said, I'm between this and the Dark Order Kenny promo. I am very much enjoying the slow build of this match. The fact that we're not naming his name, we're keeping it a little bit, but like everybody knows it's Hangman. But I do enjoy the way they're going about it. Because, like last week, Hangman, when he was asked by Alex Marvez, 2 weeks ago when he was asked by Alex Marvez, the situation, hey, you're the number one ranked, what's going to happen? And Hangman completely brushed over it. This week, we're not mentioning him by name, but Kenny knows who we're talking about. This feud, this build, it's going to get better and better and better.
It's so fucking good.
They don't fuck it up.
I don't know how you can fuck it. They've been doing, out of everything that is, they've been the whole Hangman storyline that they've been doing has been near perfect. I mean, say what you will about all the other, they have been doing this whole Hangman thing right, which is the least I could say for AEW. So I don't know how they could possibly screw this up at this point when they're so close. They're this close.
Exactly. Like, you got to hit that finish line, and if you don't, then you basically fucking up somewhere.
But to get back on track, we have a TNT title match.
Wait. Before that, we get a little bit of backstage promo from Brian Pillman Jr. He's this whole thing for the TNT title, it wasn't anything personal going forward, but Miro, you made it personal after you went after my boy Griff Garrison. That man's like a brother to me. And you know what? You're nothing but a Bulgarian bully. And tonight I'm gonna turn you into a big Bulgarian bitch. And now
I'm gonna say this in the words of Taz, because I'm pretty sure he has said this at least once, and this is just me joking around. But who in the hell is Griff Garrison?
Who in the hell? Who the fuck is Griff Garrison, dude? I don't like.
No, but from what I've seen from Griff Garrison in the brief moments that I've seen him on AEW, I think mostly on Dark, he's got some skill. He's got some skill, and with Brian Jr. as his partner, he's definitely gonna have that indirect pedigree and lineage coming through Brian Jr. because of who Brian Jr.'s dad is. And I'm pretty sure that Brian Jr. is teaching Griff quite a lot about the industry, because I'm pretty sure he's damn knowledgeable on it. But again, these two guys, just like all the other young guys that I've mentioned, like, they are basically the future of AEW. They are basically the future of the wrestling industry. Like, yeah, there's the Jerichos and the Moxleys and of course the Paul Whites and the Mark Henrys and the Stings and all of that. But then you got the young group of talent like Brian, like Griff, like MJF, like Jungle Boy, like Marco. They once Jericho and all them retire, it's up to MJF and Bryan and all of these other guys to carry the company. Because if they don't, that's going to be their own fault. And then all they're going to have to rely on again is Cody, who, by the way, I'm almost positive. I'm almost positive that stipulation where he cannot challenge for the AEW championship is still in effect. However,
now,
and we'll segue back into the thing in just a second.
No, go ahead.
But there's always one loophole in a situation like this. Always one. And that's the fact that, and y'all could correct me if I'm wrong, and whoever watching or listening to this can correct me if I'm wrong if they hear this, but Cody, I'm pretty sure, is the executive VP,
yes.
or at least one of them.
Oh, absolutely.
So basically, whenever he wants to, even though Kenny is a EVP as well, whenever he wants to, he can just put the AEW World Title on himself.
Oh, wow.
And not much can be done about it.
I think it's going to be a bit more genuine when he.
No, it's going to be a lot more genuine because, as we all know, it's going to be Cody One Kenobi who saves us all.
Of course.
From Darth Omega.
I hate you.
I haven't been able to talk.
Shut the fuck up. Please.
Don't blame me. I didn't bring it up this week.
All right,
we're moving
forward.
The way before we move forward, I'm going to say this now.
Okay.
The way you're probably feeling about Cody Rhodes right now, and I'm pretty sure you not you, Adam. I'm talking about Zaya here. I'm pretty sure the way you feel about Cody Rhodes is exactly how Charles Schultz feels about Muhammad Hassan. Hello, Charles. If you're watching this, I love you.
What the fuck?
It's a long story. It's an inside joke that Charles loved when I tell it.
Well, I guess we're going to have to get fucking Charles on this fucking podcast to explain that shit.
Eventually. But we got this TNT title match, which I also very much enjoyed.
All right.
I thought this was basic heel versus face match, but it worked. It worked very well. For not only getting
this was gonna be one and done. He hit the Machka kick or whatever. I don't even know if it has a new name.
No, I don't.
And I honestly thought, okay, that's it. That's how we're ending. And honestly, if it would have ended like that, I would have been okay with it. AEW does not do a lot of squash matches or like surprise out of nowhere finishes. I feel like this could have been one of those where I wouldn't have hated it, and I don't think the crowd would have. They would have reacted the right way. Would have been like, holy shit. Yeah, obviously that just builds on Miro, and Pillman being such a good baby face, like, it would have worked too. I mean, instead we got a pretty, like, bare bones, solid match.
Yeah.
But I kind of wanted the quick pin.
Well, this match pretty much goes, like, it's not even close being equal. Like, Miro outpowers him. He just tosses him. He is just treating this poor man like a goddamn ragdoll for the good majority of this match. He does a fallaway slam, sending him to the outside. Miro's taking full control of this match. Miro is just toying with Brian Pillman Jr. for the good majority. And then Miro makes a mistake. He goes to the outside, goes to the apron. He gets hung up by Brian Pillman Jr. He gets hung up. Brian Pillman does a dive to the... no, he doesn't do a dive. He does the triangle drop kick. He does the triangle drop kick to Miro, sends him flying, goes to the outside, sends him back into the ring, hits him with Air Pillman for a
2 count.
For a 1 count, actually.
For a 1 count? It was a 1 count?
Yeah, it was a 1. Mm-hmm. Only gets the 1 count off of the...
Air Pillman. Yeah,
Air Pillman. That's what it's called.
You got it.
He then later tries to. I think he goes up top. He misses, but I almost called him Rusev. What the fuck? Miro tried to go for the super kick, couldn't get it. Pillman moved out of the way and then he hit him with a nice looking super kick for a 2 count. He tries to go for it again. Miro blocks it, kicks him upside his head again. He keeps him up though. He puts him up, goes for that damn Mosh Pit kick and connects with it fully this time. And now it's time for game over. Locks it in, but Brian Pillman Jr. is fighting it. He's trying to fight it. He's trying to reach for the ace. He's going to be the first person to actually reach for the other hand. No, he bends it.
Instead, Miro goes up to an impressive 11-0 singles record.
He bent him like a goddamn pretzel. Oh, God, it was brutal.
I love it.
Awesome.
I love this fucking thing. The fact, I was worried. Again, every time he fights these bigger men, I'm like, is he going to be able? And it looked like for a few seconds he couldn't get Brian all the way back. Right. But then he got it, and I'm like, Miro is. Yeah, I love this guy. This guy's
Miro is a beast.
Miro is so good.
And personally, he's just another wrestler. But how do I word this? Because I don't want to fuck anything up. Miro is another one of those wrestlers that got let go by WWE. That was a completely wasted talent in that company. He got super over, especially towards the end. Like, he was a dominant U.S. champion. I don't know if he won the Intercontinental title before. I could be wrong. Like when he was Rusev in WWE, like, he dominated. But the problem is that proverbial quote-unquote glass ceiling that the WWE, in my personal opinion, blatantly refuses to let him and a lot of other people like Cesaro, for example, they refuse to let them break that glass ceiling because I feel like they are afraid of how successful people like him can become.
It's such a weird thing, too. Like, the man on, 4 different occasions got himself over with the crowd. Like, by all intents and purposes, by the way that they were fucking booking him, he shouldn't have been as over as he was in the WWE. But by the sheer force of his personality and just how he was able to make this shit work.
You go and you listen to Aiden English. I think his name is Matt. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Reinhold, I think it is, something like that. And
Guerrero.
Is it? He's officially Guerrero.
I don't know. I just think he's married to what?
Reinhold, and CJ Perry recently, his wife, on Jericho's podcast. From all of the accounts from both of them, regardless of how over the crowd were with him, there was never an intended end game with Rusev Day. They saw, okay, the crowd likes it. All right, we can do a little bit of merch here and there. But they didn't have any intent to do something with him afterwards. Right. This was, and Matt makes it abundantly clear. This was something that they did randomly, and all right, let's just go with it. And that just seems to be the WWE style, unlike the AEW style, where they're not they're putting things out there randomly to see what sticks. But once they realize this doesn't stick, all right, we're not going to go with it, or it does stick. And then they capitalize on it.
Exactly. And
WWE capitalizes on it only for merchandise or money or the small little window they have it.
Exactly. And that's the thing, too. They always capitalize, WWE, they always capitalize on superstars' pushes, but for all the wrong reasons. And the other thing that's a problem with WWE that AEW 99% of the time does not have is the start a push, they get on a hot streak, and then they stop a push just as soon as it gets good. It's kind of like, and I hate to have to use this analogy, but it's kind of like sex with a woman in bed. Okay. Just as it starts to get good, it falls flat. Plain and simple.
Okay.
Granted, my lifestyle is not like that because,
No, I'm pretty yeah, of course not. No.
But I'm just saying, in a general speaking sense, WWE has that bad habit of teasing the fans with something good and then
and
act in their way.
underperforming.
So it's either like start and
Right.
stop, or like all of a sudden, dude is just off TV.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like Keith Lee, for example, but
But
That's another story for another
be a
time.
whole different situation. But
Like,
this again, and in situations like this, like you look at Pillman. Pillman is not a guy who they have. I mean, they have plans, but he's not like a guy that they're ready to have. Like he's a big TV star guy, but he's doing stuff on Elevation constantly. He's doing stuff on Dark, and this is your reward. You do good shit. Now you get to be on TV. You get to have a prominent position. You get to have a point, and then. Now your stock goes up more. You had a Team 2 title match. You actually gave up a good fight for what you could. Obviously, it was Miro. There's an obvious, like, he's Miro. So, like, it's not like he looks weak in defeat because he's going up against somebody who's as dominant. And Pillman, I believe, was on Elevation this week. Like, it's not like you lose and now, okay, we're done with you. It's you lose and now we're moving on to the next thing. You continuously have something going on.
Right. After that, we're going to move past the Hangman Dark Order stuff since we talked about that.
Team Taz!
Yeah, we're going to Team Taz.
But it's not, but it's not all of Team Taz.
No.
It's Taz, and it's Powerhouse, and it's, of course, the main man, Hook.
So everyone's wondering, like, what the hell is going on with Team Taz? You know, like, everyone's distraught. You know, fucking Hobbs is distraught. We already know Hook is distraught because the man fucking
Talks. He
fucking
speaks. He doesn't. He has a box. The child speaks, and he said words. He said a lot of words, but he spoke.
He's all like this.
See, my favorite member of Team Taz is Will Hobbs because, again, he's one of those young stars who's hasn't hit his prime and doesn't know how good he can be and will be yet. Or he's probably just hitting his prime and is now realizing his full potential and just how good he's capable of being. He's got every skill in the book. The only nitpicking with Will Hobbs that I have, sometimes it's his promo work. I don't know what it is, but like he's good, but obviously there's always room for improvement when it comes to not just him, but just about everybody.
And I think he'll get better considering he's with Taz, who's literally
being with Taz. Well, not just Taz, but like Ricky is awesome.
Oh yeah, that's also true.
And you know, and even Brian for whatever Brian can do.
Who better?
But this is a very simple little promo. Ricky's not here. Brian's not here. These two motherfuckers, July 14th, they're gonna go at it. And it's for the FTW title, which is awesome.
This is the first time that belt's been defended in like a year.
The first time it'll be defended, Taz pretty much sums this up. It's going to be a good old-fashioned fight to clean things up. That's not happening.
No.
So I believe that is the second week of Fyter Fest or the first week of Fyter Fest?
I'll check.
It's one of those days. Just one of those days
where you don't want to wake up.
But yeah, I do believe it's the second. It's the first week of Fyter Fest.
That's the first. That is the first week of Fyter Fest.
So in 2 weeks, Brian Cage and the returning Ricky Starks will go at it for the FTW title. That's pretty much the end of that segment. And then we get on the worst thing of the night. And it hurts me to say that because it involves poor Britt Baker and Nyla. But it's a tag team match, player.
Mm-hmm.
As it's Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, the AEW World's Women's Champion, and her assistant, Rebel Reba, going up against the native beast, Nyla Rose, and Vicky.
I did. I know you're taking the reins with this one because I didn't see it, but I did see the fucking Nyla and Vicky had.
Did you see the entrance?
Did
you see Vicky with her shitty Nyla?
Yes, I did.
Her big ass excuse me on her butt. Like, yeah, okay, this is what I want. And her and her shitty ass shoes. Literally, it's the same gear she wore when she was in WWE, but she's got the Nyla face mask. I hate this. Why are we still putting Vicky on TV?
You know, Vicky is obviously, in my personal opinion, one of the best heels of all time in terms of manager work.
Yeah, she could work, but not with Nyla, not this.
She just needs to stay out of the fucking ring. Plain and simple. I don't care if she's Eddie's widow or not. She needs to stay out of the ring. Just stay as a manager and you'll be fine.
Granted, the good thing about this match, the one shining light about this match, because this match is all fucked up.
All right.
Is that Vicky didn't do anything. She was tagged in, but she really didn't have any offense, which, thank you, Lord and Savior, Danny DeVito. But she did not do much. But it starts off with Vicky and the Doctor, and Britt clocks Vicky right in the face. So, that's that. Bye-bye. Vicky's done. So, then Rebel starts jumping on Nyla's back, and she's flipping her to the... So, it's now Reba, and it's Nyla going at it. Thank God Vicky does nothing else besides get assaulted a little bit later on. Somewhere, though, in this match, I cannot remember, there is a pinfall attempt. And Nyla is pinning Britt, and Reba comes into the ring to break it up. And on impact of breaking it up, she dislocated her knee.
Ow.
The good news is that apparently after the show is done, her knee was then relocated, and she was out drinking with everybody. Nobody knows right now with the severity on how badly she's hurt. Clearly, she's not an in-ring competitor to that extent, so if she is hurt, really, she can still be on TV. But that was just more of this match just being a fucking train wreck. There's a nasty spot where Nyla is... Before this, actually, Nyla hits that beautiful King Kong knee drop to Britt off the top rope, which I still think should be her main finisher over the Beast Bomb. That move always looks so brutal. Britt collapses like a sack of rocks. So that was a really, really good spot in there. This prompts, for some good reason, for Vicky to get tagged back in.
Mm-hmm.
And as Vicky is in the ring, she's telling Nyla, go to the top rope. Get to that top rope. Because Vicky wants to have the pinfall. And if Vicky would have pinned Britt, I would have turned my TV off. But instead, Britt kicks Nyla off of the top rope, and Nyla takes a really nasty tumble to the outside. It looked like she hit the back of her head on the ring apron. But luckily, she did not. Also, during this match, a table has been set up outside. So, yeah, there's a table outside. But back in the ring, Nyla's gone, and it's just Vicky and Britt, and Vicky is scared shitless, and Britt just starts to go ham. Eventually applying the lockjaw, Vicky taps out. Thank Jesus. This match is over. But afterwards, we get that classic, camera cut of Britt in the ring, and there's Nyla creeping up from the back, getting on the apron. Britt has no idea what's going on. Nyla gets in the ring, attacks Britt, power bombs her off of the apron through the table. Britt takes this beautifully. The table just implodes. It was really, really good. I don't know why. It's a weird thing to say, but Britt takes table spots really well. It's a weird thing to compliment, but she does. And that's the end of that. Nyla and Nyla takes Vicky, and they get out of there. And that's the end of this. And of course, this is setting up to second week, the July 17th edition of Dynamite, which will be the second week of Fyter Fest, which 21st. Will be the 21st?
Yeah, because the 14th is the first week.
All right, the 17th is Slammiversary. I'm sorry. The 21st.
It's all right. Sometimes we get companies mixed up too. It's all right.
21st.
To ask a question, though. I assume Britt's the babyface and Nyla is.
They're both heel.
See,
no, they're both heel. No, I'm talking about this.
No, hold on. This match kind of is, I guess, changing that course.
Right, because I feel like if they're working towards Britt, because I feel like if they're working towards Britt turning face, this is kind of a good way to go about it. Like,
he was massively over.
Shitty match aside, Like they're definitely working towards turning Britt face.
The stuff between Nyla and Britt in this match was fine. It was all great because they have really good chemistry against each other. Britt came out. The Jacksonville crowd was eating her up. DMDs, people with Pittsburgh flags and all that jazz. Like, she is all still massively over. She did kind of play babyface a little bit in this match more than usual. And I do think her getting powerbombed through the table afterwards, which got massive boos from the crowd towards Nyla. I feel like we're starting to go into a full-on babyface.
Then I will say this right now. She better be fired up, ready on a microphone, ready to fucking take Nyla's head off next week. Cause so help me God, if we do another fucking thing where she goes to the fucking crowd and she starts insulting them again like she did last time, I'm gonna lose my goddamn mind.
Usa, it's okay.
No, this whole build has been dog shit. This
match sucked, but the post-match, I feel like, is...
it's not what saved it.
It saved it, and Britt acting a bit more face in the ring. You know, she's also really just good at her camera work. She knows where the main cameras are. She's great at it. I love Britt Baker. There's nothing announced for either of them at Road Rager. Of course, that could all change. They could have some random backstage segment or whatever. We'll see what happens on that part, but we do know July 21st, AEW Women's Title match will go down. So I'm assuming
ready
first
to take her hat off. So we gotta backstage.
But after that, we got another backstage before we get to our main event.
Hager, Santana, Ortiz, they're backstage. Yeah,
this might have been the best Jake Hager promo I've ever heard.
Hager's like,
or just in AEW.
You can't. Hager's like, Warlow, you came into my world. You came in there. You came in the cage fight. You fought like a man. But then you had fucking Sean Spears attack me like a bitch. And so now we still got problems. We're still gonna go at it. And he's like, what were the 2 rules that they said happened?
I don't remember. I gotta
God damn it. Well, basically, it's like they pretty much call out FTR and fucking Wardlow for being bitches, and that's leading up to a six-man tag match at Road Rager. Speaking of which, Adam, would you please do us the favor in running down the whole Road Rager card for July 7th? Yes. 1 second.
Like I said, no, in general, I've been very vocal on here, making it clear I have never been a Jake Hager fan. I think Jake Hager sucks.
Now, are you saying it was the best promo you've heard from him ever, or just in
honestly,
AEW?
No, ever. He's
because obviously,
Hager,
when he was Jack Swagger, like his promo sucked ass.
But in short little spurts, like tonight, or well, not tonight, but during Dynamite, I thought that's what Jake Hager should be doing. Yelly, like, just, I'm going to beat your ass promos so that he doesn't have to stutter over his words or say stupid shit. This is what's working for him. I like the whole him and Santana and Ortiz pairing. I think the 3 of them work well together. But this Wednesday, we do have a pretty stacked card with some really interesting matches, including one that I'm completely shocked about. Speaking of Cody Rhodes. But we do have MJF and Jericho. They're going to have a face-off, I guess, to set up their match for whatever's happening there. We got the Inner Circle. It'll be Santana, Ortiz, and Jake Hager with Conan taking on the Pinnacles, Dax Harwood, Cash Wheeler, Wardlow with Tully Blanchard in corner. Where's my boy Sean Spears? This card is trash.
No.
Where has Sean Spears been? Now that I think about it,
exactly.
Been too busy playing fucking musical chairs by himself in a garage.
Where is the base god Sean Spears? I don't like it. Also, we're gonna have Andrade El Idolo in his AEW in-ring debut. He's got Matt Sydal. That match should be
something
special. We have the Stealth Beach Strap match as QT Marshall and Cody Rhodes the God of Wrestling will go at it.
No.
God of Wrestling? What?
Yes, God of Wrestling, Cody One Kenobi.
That-
We also have I'm gonna save the last match for the end because I want to hear the opinions real quick. But also, we're gonna have the street fight for the AEW World Tag Titles. It'll be the Young Bucks taking on Pentagon and Eddie Kingston. And then, for first time ever in AEW, we never thought it was gonna happen because of how Cody was pretty much adamant about it. Orange Cassidy and Chris Statlander will take on the Blade and the Bunny in the first ever intergender match in AEW history.
Now,
I am extremely excited.
I
am a huge advocate.
Do you
for
think that
intergender wrestling.
Are you sure that they're going to play this like an actual intergender match, or how the WWE does it, where the men just face the men?
If it wasn't intergender, I feel like they would have said mixed tag. Because Impact does mixed tag. ROH has mentioned mixed tag. Like, I feel like when mixed tag is in the title, you're getting men on men, women on women. The fact that it's specifically intergender and the way that they were going about it on commentary, I feel, and we've already seen all four of these people kind of get involved doing moves. I think we're getting a full-blown intergender match on Dynamite. Which, again, I'm super ecstatic because I'm a huge advocate for intergender wrestling.
Well,
as am I.
Well, if that were to be the case, God knows I saw an intergender match recently that was very, very good, which we'll talk about.
We're going to talk about that.
But
right, let's get into it.
If that's the case,
later on.
That's later.
Oh.
But if that's the case, then I'm very interested to see how that goes. Very interesting.
But that's everything that is officially fully confirmed for the show. Of course, little promos like that could always be added in at last second, but I can't tell you any of that right now.
But but with all that settled, it is now time for our main event of the evening: MJF versus Sammy Guevara. And
I don't know what to say because last week's match was fantastic, and holy shit, this week's match was even more fantastic.
This was so good.
They gave these guys like 30 minutes, and it was awesome.
It was so great.
Exactly.
It just tells you, these guys are supposed to be the future.
Also, the fact that it's the first time these two are meeting and they had this good chemistry.
It just shows
nuts.
It shows you these are guys are supposed to be the future. Just think of how fucking good they're going to be 5-10 years down the road. That's insane to think about that they're this good right now and could be even better when they get older. It's nuts. But they pretty much start off the chain wrestling smooth as hell. Just looking at these two, MJF got to show off a lot more of his athleticism, way more than he usually gets to do. He was doing the kip ups as well with Sammy Guevara. It's not stuff that you usually see for MJF.
Yeah, no, MJF actually got to wrestle for once, and not just be all gimmick, which was really good to see because that's one of the things that I've been wanting more of is MJF wrestling, doing wrestling because he's really good at it.
Exactly.
But he's always hindered by having to be a bit more showy with the wrestling. This match, on the other hand, there was great show. Right at the beginning when they kept doing Fargo struts at each other was really entertaining. But then this match just starts to kick into high gear, and it does not stop.
No, it does not. So basically, the whole story of this whole thing is MJF breaking every rule in the book. He's trying to get every advantage he possibly can on Guevara. He's pulling the hair, he's poking the eyes, he's distracting the referee, all that stuff. Guevara treated like the traditional babyface. He's got the high-risk maneuvers. He does a Fosbury flop to MJF on the outside at one point. He's running wild on MJF. There is a point in this match where Sammy Guevara gets his fucking RVD moment and gets Maxwell to the crowd, and you could just see it.
How did he not kill himself?
You could just see it.
That's like asking how Sabu hasn't killed himself yet with all the shit that he's done.
Into the crowd!
Into the fucking crowd!
with a swanton almost.
And
like, not even like
he
a
landed it perfect. He got it perfectly.
It really was. And it was perfect.
It's so perfect. He gets, like, no room for error. He jumped over that shit. He cleared it, and he got him perfectly. Like, that, you couldn't have gotten it any better than he did here.
Right, and this is just another case of what I was talking about earlier. Like, Sammy and MJF and all these other young stars in AEW, like, they are the future. Like, they're the future of technical wrestling. They're the future of lucha libre, high flying. People like Will Hobbs, like, future of, like, powerhouse style wrestling. Like, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, absolutely. There's after that, they go back and forth for a while. They get up to the top rope at one point. MJF hits Sammy with a second rope tombstone pile driver.
What the fuck?
Jesus Christ.
What the fuck? I watched this and I said, there's no fucking way. And then he does it, and I'm like, Mark Calloway somewhere is having a heart attack.
He's losing his shit.
I've never seen a second rope tombstone, and it was perfect.
And of course, he fucks up his knee, so it's like, hey, just go for the other. Like,
that's the thing too. I feel like if Undertaker tried that from the second rope, he would probably.
His career's over. He tries that once.
He would be confined to a wheelchair for the rest of his fucking life, and Michelle would have to drag him around town all day in a fucking wheelchair.
Yeah, it's not even a fucking question.
How would he make his cameos?
He can make
a wheelchair.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Sammy, at one point, he hits the go to hell, but Max has his feet on the ropes. He then he then goes up to the top rope. He's looking for the 630, and Maxwell's like, he's pleading with him, don't do it. No, don't do it, man. Please, I'm begging you. And then he says great. Fuck that. Yeah, he gets this great shot of fucking Max's face, just like, oh shit, he's actually gonna do it. And then he hits a perfect 630 for a count of two. And then,
but wait, guess who shows up?
Of course, here we go.
It's base Sean Spears.
Sean Spears
coming to save the day.
Fucking Spears,
the fucking chairman who doesn't own a
goddamn base god. Thing. The Canadian god himself.
A literal chair, a steel chair. Jericho's like, nah, fuck this. I'm going to go after him. But who should come up behind him?
We forgot to mention that Jericho was on commentary the whole night.
Oh, yeah. I already said it to Hit Kid earlier. Like, Jericho on commentary, he's got two settings. Loud and belligerent.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no soft when it comes to Jericho on commentary.
And it's all better than JR. But anyway.
Well, I mean, JR, like, he's past his prime. He's way over the hill, but he still provides a lot of insight. Like, that's probably the only good thing left about JR, and that's with all due respect to him.
So, basically what happens is
big war dog.
Yeah, Jericho tries to go after Sean Spears, but he's attacked behind by Wardlow. Wardlow takes him out. He tosses him off top.
He tossed him off the stage.
Off the stage. His old brittle bones. God bless Jericho.
While that's going on, the chairman doing what the chairman does best. Smashing Sammy over the head.
With the steel chair. Guevara's pretty much out at that point. MJF crawls for the pin. 1, 2, 3. The Pinnacle gets the victory over Sammy Guevara in this case, over Jericho. They're standing tall at the end of this. And after that, we get that video package that we mentioned. Very well done. Yeah. But of course, we can't just end things with a good farewell, with a very well-earned farewell.
We have to.
Yeah, the fuck we do.
I feel like people are
Because of course, right after that beautiful video package is over, and You feel the tears flowing. You know, you're getting very misty eyed in here. Like,
yeah, you're saying goodbye to like it's like a second home.
Yeah,
their main home essentially.
But Jim Ross just had to close it out. We couldn't go.
God,
we couldn't go out.
Okay.
We couldn't go out without including good old JR. So of course
that's been at the end of the show too.
He says, and I quote, "You really want to come to these events because there is nothing like a good WWE Dynamite show."
We fade to black.
Fuck!
When it comes to JR, and this is what him being way past his prime comes in, I don't know if it's because of old age that he said it, or if it's because he's doing this shit on purpose and Vince is paying him handsomely to do so.
I think he's old. He was in the moment. He obviously, it's the WWE. He's worked for that company for so long.
That is true.
If say Excalibur or Tony said it, or then I could see all right,
God,
now you're getting angry. But like at this point, yes, was it a terrible way to really wrap up and end it? I guess you could see it as that.
Why?
But
like, why I'm saying
this isn't the first time JR.
Yeah, exactly. At this point, it's like JR makes a mistake, take a drink.
It was literally at the end of the show. He didn't have to say goddamn word. We were literally a minute. He obviously
had the good intent of being like Dynamite's where it's at. Come to AEW Dynamite, but he said WWE. It's a simple mistake for him.
Oh my God! What?
It is.
This isn't the first time he's made a mistake like this because I think he called Kenny Omega the WWE champion at one point.
He did.
I feel like that's more egregious.
Well. If you guys want to know, if you guys want to see a good wrestling show, just always be sure to tune in to WWE Dynamite every single Wednesday night at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m.
Can I strangle this man, please?
Yeah, please. No, go ahead. I'd love
no, you can't strangle me because I got to go on to the next segment of the show.
But before we leave, I do want to say it's we will be seeing them back at Jacksonville in August. But I feel no, All Out's in Chicago, but they're gonna Joey Janela's burner account that he's been tweeting off of a lot. Pretty much. Janela. Oh, don't know. Oh, then we got fighting words. But yeah, Joey pretty much said that it's going to be every like a 6-week type deal almost, where like they'll do a few on the road. Then we're going to go back to Jacksonville for a week.
Okay.
The Daly's Place really in the past year, and even before then, because I knew they ran out of Daly's Place a few times, even when they were doing touring. It's almost become like a modern day Impact Zone or the 2300 arena.
Right, I was just about to say, like, it's basically like a modern day ECW arena because they always operated out of there until they decided to take things on the road in 90?
I think it's like 99, 98, late 98, early 99.
I want to say in between 97 and 99, like late 97 though.
And then, Impact Zone and stuff. Like, I feel having that home base, having that iconic arena that people will remember, this is the AW arena.
Oh, absolutely.
I feel like that's something that WWE never had except for MSG, like in the early days.
Yeah.
They don't have that anymore.
Yeah,
and I feel like
that's something.
Yeah, but I feel like that's something that wrestling companies should have. Like ROH has the Manhattan Center, and PWG had Reseda,
and then they had to relocate because they tore the Reseda Center down.
I love the idea of like a company having a home base that's like memorable. Like you feel happy. Like we're back at Daly's Place. Yeah, we're back at the Impact Zone.
A home away from home.
Exactly. So like, I'm happy that Jacksonville will always have it, and all with the great memories we had over the past year and a half that they gave us. It's time to get on that road. Let's get going. I'm excited for Wednesday in front of a brand new crowd. Let's get the momentum going again.
Yep. Thanks, Daly's Place. Thanks for the memories.
Thanks a lot, and we'll see you soon. But now it's time to talk about bullshit.
News segment, baby.
Because we gotta let's just get
Well,
out of the way.
I know you guys
Lord, here we go.
I know what you guys want to talk about.
Fuck a union.
We're gonna save that for last. I only got like 4 other things to talk about. There wasn't really much news-wise other than that. So I'm just gonna run it down real quick. There's just a few things that I wanted to bring up on this new segment. First, we got a new signee to the NXT UK roster.
Oh, yes, baby.
Oh, Blair Davenport.
Blair Davenport has officially made her way into NXT UK. Which,
for those who
Priestley.
Exactly. For those who don't know.
I'm just gonna say I don't hate the name.
I don't either.
I don't hate the name. I don't hate the name.
I don't know what does she expect going here.
I have a feeling Mako ain't holding that belt for her.
Right.
Probably not. More than likely
I think
not.
they needed. I think they were in a position where we need to get this off of Kaylee. Here's Mako, and let's have Blair get a huge victory over somebody like Mako to really establish her. I'm honestly surprised she's not on the main NXT roster.
Yeah, but you know how Rhea started. She ended up going to
NXT
and then NXT and then main roster.
Which is why I feel like Kaylee.
She might be like.
I think she's on her way to the main NXT. There's like a few new ladies.
Really, what else does she have left over there?
Exactly. So yeah, that's cool. I try my best to like at least give NXT UK some form of an attempt.
Why?
Because you get shit like Ilya and Walter.
But that's it.
Yeah, I know, but like, Kaylee and Mako had a really good match, and Ilya and Walter are gonna fight again, and I'm gonna watch.
But I only want to watch Walter and Mako.
There was a really good triple threat that happened between Rampage, Brown, Ilya, and Joe Coffey. That was really good.
But I don't want to watch Joe Coffey. I want to watch Walter.
The one person I'm waiting to make like a no pun intended huge splash in WWE is Dave Mastiff. Like he's got that big man style that I really enjoy seeing out of people.
So short.
He matter of fact, I don't even know.
So is Otis.
Yeah, you see how well that's fucking going.
No,
Otis is actually doing good shit on SmackDown.
So from what
he was doing good, they took a lot away from him.
There's a lot of people on the NXT UK brand that I feel deserve more. I don't know when the lockdown for the UK is over, but NXT UK really needs a crowd again.
Yeah, because that's the only thing in the UK scene that's actually has any kind of hype behind it right now.
Yeah, because WWE owns all the other companies at this point.
Guys,
basically WWE.
Damn it, Rev Pro, you are our only hope right now.
Yeah, at this point. But yeah, so that's NXT UK news out of there. Good luck to Blair.
And now to move on to another signee. This time from AEW, because they recently signed one Sanjay Dutt to.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Yes. I actually heard about this the other day.
Know that.
Sanjay, I think, was a producer in WWE for a while, and then he got released.
He asked for his release. He was not fired. He asked to be let go.
Right, and then
I
don't think he had a match in WWE though.
He's never on TV.
Well, yeah, it was recently made to everyone's attention that he had been signed by AEW, and not only that, it seems that he is working with their women's division now.
Oh, good. Well, so he's producing for them as well, then.
Yes.
Yeah, well, Sanjay is like a very insightful person in the business, and he knows his way around, so...
Sanjay deserves way more credit than he deserves.
Absolutely.
For a lot of what he has done for the Young X Division style.
Fucking
oh my god, Sanjay and the
X Division. Player from the Himalayas, brother. Like what the fuck?
With the freaking collection plate, that used to be awesome.
He was so dope.
My god,
he was so dope.
I think he's a great asset for the women's division. You know, it's proven in years that, you know, you don't necessarily need a guy to teach the guys or a girl to teach the girls. Girls can teach the guys and guys can teach the girls, and everybody works out for it. I mean, look at Finley.
Exactly.
The success that he has had for the WWE women's division over these years.
Absolutely.
And especially because Kenny is in such a high position, it's good to have somebody else that's going to be able to oversee that division on top of Kenny as well. And I think Sandra's a great addition for that. So good for them.
Absolutely.
Want to give a bit of a shout out to one Isaiah Swerve Scott real quick, who
hell yeah.
won the North American Championship on NXT last week.
Give Hit Row all the belts.
Absolutely. I will be completely honest. I was not a fan of them turning Swerve heel at first. Mainly because I've seen...
You figured it out.
Yeah. I've seen how this man work. Mainly because I've seen how this man... I think he's like a natural babyface. Just how the way he is. He's so naturally charismatic. I think he could have worked so well as a babyface, and I don't think NXT really gave him a shot. But I'm very, very glad that this whole Hit Row thing that they started up is working very well.
Right. And I feel like he falls in the same category as Bayley in that regard, in a sense. Because remember, when Bayley first turned heel, she was not that good. And then soon as she came into her own and found her stride, now she's on like a little BS, whatever. But she still like found her niche. And that's exactly what Swerve has found and is still finding. Like, he's still finding his niche. It's like, he's there, but he can go even higher if he wanted to.
So I've said it. I think I've said it on here, and if I haven't, then I'll say it now. NXT has gotten better.
With the whole Diamond Mine thing,
the Diamond Mine thing is awesome. I mean, I think now that they're back on their own, being able to do what they want, they're starting to find their stride again, except in one place. That's the main event scene, sadly.
If they can just figure out their main event scene, they might. I might legit start reconsidering watching NXT on a weekly basis again. Might.
But obviously, I mean, this was great for Swerve, but this is clearly adding more fuel to the rumors that it pretty much seems like Brian Bronson
going
and
to the main
Cross
roster
are heading to the main roster sooner than we thought. Which I think Bronson will do. I think Bronson could have a lot of good success on the main roster. I'm just afraid that he's going to fall into that big man situation that a lot of them do.
Where he's treated as a threat for a month and then he's doing silly dances the next.
I think his international skill and the fact that he's pretty good on the mic.
He is.
I think he could maybe be one of the few that doesn't have to get like Otis or like, Brodus Slade.
Oh God.
So I have hope for Bronson, but good to Swerve. I don't know if you had anything else besides that. Besides the main topic.
I did.
Because I wanted to mention one quick thing on a sad note.
Go ahead. Okay.
We sadly we did lose a member of the wrestling world this past week in the Patriot, Del Welts.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
The Patriot passed away from a heart attack, I believe at the age of 60.
59.
59, a day before the 4th of July, which, the irony. He had copious amounts of drug and substance abuse issues throughout his whole life, being arrested over 20 times between his run as the Patriot in the 90s into the 2000s, all substance related, all meant to try and get him into rehab. In his later years, though, he was a public speaker to a lot of the young wrestling community, telling them his horror stories and putting them on the path to don't follow what I did, follow the better path, get yourself on straight. So at least in his later years, he was trying to give a better message out there to the younger crowd. So rest in peace to Del Welks, the Patriot. Of course,
absolutely.
His most prominent moment is his match with Bret Hart in the WWF. But it's always sad to see a member of our community go away.
Absolutely.
So rest in peace to the Patriot, and condolences to his family.
Absolutely. And it really just goes to show, and this is going off based off of what all three of us and everybody else that's associated with us has experienced the last few weeks alone.
Yeah.
It's like you never know what your last words to somebody is going to be. You never know what the last words that somebody who passes on is going to say to you. It's like losing loved ones, like this past Monday, for example. Because this last week has been shitty for me personally. At the time of this recording, of course. My sister had actually gotten into a car accident and ended up in the ER that I was working in that day. Thankfully, she's all right. She's gonna have to pay a hefty price to get the back of her car fixed. But right before that, I was actually watching an episode of Love and Hip Hop on one of the hospital TVs. And one of the guys on the show had found out that his friend had gotten killed in a drive-by on the highway somewhere down south. And not even a half hour later, I get a text from my sister saying that she was in the ER. So
you never know.
You never know what the last words you say to somebody could be. And it's like, we're all lucky enough to still be here. And those who aren't here are guiding us through this crazy life, keeping us as strong as we can.
Absolutely.
Because if we don't got the strength of those who are no longer here with us, and if we don't got the strength of each other holding us up, then what really do we have?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, sorry to bring that down a little bit.
Oh no, absolutely.
It's all good.
I can't believe I forgot to write that down, but yeah.
I just wanted to mention that, of course, always got to talk about our wrestling families.
Absolutely.
But what was the last thing you had to say before we get to the main thing?
There was a certain list that came out courtesy of the WWE.
Oh, the WWE list.
Yeah. They listed the full 50 top tag teams of all time. And, number one, they had a certain criteria, though. Yeah, they did.
Right.
It had to be teams that were only in WWE. They had an honorable mention for a lot of those WCW tag teams and ECW tag teams, too.
Yes.
They went off of the longevity of the team, the amount of titles they had, and their cultural impact, whatever the fuck that is.
This is what pisses me off about WWE. This is another nitpicking problem that I have with them. They're going to stay here and talk all that shit about the greatest 50 tag teams of all time, and then only include tag teams that were in WWE.
Well, I think they only wanted to do that because it's like for everybody who's like,
because it's like there's way better teams than the ones that they got.
Look, I know, like you and I know that, like,
yeah, of course.
That's why they wanted to limit it to WWE so they didn't get this whole uproar. Like, well, what about this team?
Well, like I said,
the problem is they were going to get the uproar regardless.
Their honorable mentions did mention the Outsiders, Harlem Heat, the Midnight Express, the Pitbulls, the Eliminators. They still recognized, I guess, but they weren't ranked.
Do you want
the top five? If I'm not mistaken, I think I remember the top five off my head.
Well, that's why. Do you want me to go down the list, or do you just want me to do the top 10?
I think top five is all that really matters.
Okay, so the top five are as followed.
From 5 to 1.
Okay, so number 5, the Dudley Boys, Bubba Ray and Devon Dudley.
Fine. Makes sense.
Number 4, Edge and Christian. Number 3, the Hart Foundation. Number 2, the Hardy Boys. And coming in at number 1, the greatest WWE tag team of all time, The New Day.
See, this is where I feel like New Day obviously deserves that spot strictly for beating Demolition's reign length record.
There's a lot of recency bias, obviously.
But I feel like the Dudleys should be ranked number 2. And the Hardys should be moved down one spot and so on and so forth. But I feel like Demolition should be ranked in the top 5, at least strictly for the length of their reign
I
alone.
do believe they were 6.
Going by their criteria of what they were looking for going into this tag team, I'd have to say, like, the Hardy Boys being at number 2 over the Dudleys and Edge, I feel like that's warranted, considering that when you think of early 2000s WWE, and even, like, now, when going into the tag teams, you think of the Hardy Boys and think of their popularity
I
as a
think
tag
Edge and
team.
Christian should have. And you're talking to me. I'm the Hardy guy. But I think Edge and Christian should be above the Hardys. Because you're also talking about they're also going off of like how many times they've won.
But think of the longevity though. That's what I'm saying. Like the Hardy Boys have gotten back together so many times.
And also at the same time, I think the Hart Foundation could be above the Hardys as well.
They should be. And this is where I say the Dudleys should be above the Hardys too, because they didn't really break up and get back together too many times in WWE. Matter of fact, I think they only did that once. That's when they split them up and had Devon go to SmackDown and become the referee.
Oh my brother!
I also I love the New Day more than the next guy, but I'm putting New Day at 5.
Really?
No, I understand why you would do that.
I think there's a lot of recency bias. Also, like, I think they cheated a little bit here. It's a stable.
Yeah.
It's which one is the tag team? Is it Xavier?
But couldn't you say that for the fucking Hart Foundation?
No, but the Hart Foundation, they specifically made clear it's Brett and Jim.
They also added the Shield on this.
Which, again, I love the Shield. I would have said Seth and Roman.
Right, because they clearly clarified that Seth and Roman were the team.
Also, but if I'm picking number 1, my number 1 is what Walton said, and I'm going with Demolition. I love Demolition. I know why they're not number 1 because of the concussion lawsuit.
Right.
That's the only reason they're not number 1 or even the top 5. But Demolition, to me, is number 1.
How long did Demolition stay together as a tag team?
Forever. They never broke up until Bill Eadie.
Well, how long were they in WWE?
In WWE, from the time that they first got together all the way up until their contracts expired, I would say roughly.
It has to be.
And Adam, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I think they were together for a good 7 years.
It has to. I know it has to end around 93 because that's obviously Repo Man shows up at this point.
Yeah, and then that's when Crush came into the.
And I think they were wrestling since the, if I'm not going to say late 70s, at least the early 80s.
Right.
And of course, being champions for as long as they were.
Yeah.
They had some of incredible matches with the Hart Foundation. I think Demolition, because of the situation that they're in with this lawsuit, they don't get enough recognition anymore, and that's really depressing because Demolition deserve just as much recognition as the Legion of Doom do.
I think, and this is going off of their criteria and not my own, when I'm looking at this list and I see it, I understand wholeheartedly why the New Day is number 1. And if I did it by that same criteria, I probably have them at my number 1 as well. In terms of just absolute, staying power and just drawing, or just pure markability, I don't think another team beats the New Day, because this whole thing, nobody thought it was going to work when it first started. Everybody looked at it and thought, this is probably going to last, probably a few months, maybe a year tops. And they turned out to be one of the, highest selling merchandising teams they've ever fucking had. And it speaks to the fact that even when they broke them up, they didn't break them up. They still got Kofi and Xavier still going at it at Raw, and even Big E's still doing the same gimmick he had back on SmackDown. So it's
Exactly.
like that should tell you
But
like the kind of
I bring up something Salamonster brought up recently, and he made a good point. Take out the New Day and the Usos matches. Not a lot of really memorable New Day tag matches.
All right, let's
Exactly.
tell.
And, you know, it really pisses me off too that the Usos are not ranked higher than
Yeah,
what
I was
they
going to say
are.
the same thing.
They're-
I would put the Usos above the New Day.
Their number
Exactly,
six.
because
What?
the Usos have been
Yeah.
the Usos have been a team basically forever.
Yeah,
And they've had,
So-
and I can think of way more, like the Usos and Eric and Brody, and the Usos and the New Day, the Usos and Tyson Kidd and Cesaro.
but the Usos were just like. It wasn't until like what was it? They turned heel is where they finally started to get that recognition.
Yeah, like they started
the New
finding
Day
their
had
niche,
it.
of course.
All right, the New Day had to turn face to find their niche.
No, they
Exactly.
turned heel to find their niche.
No, I mean when they were heel and turned face is what Adam is trying to say.
Yeah, but that only took about a few months. It took fucking Usos years, years to turn face. I mean, turn heel.
That is true. That is true.
I don't know.
Look, like I said, I see what you mean. If I'm the WWE, obviously, I'm trying to keep it marketable and stuff. The New Day are going to be number one. I would, if anything, I'd say number two, and I'd have Edge and Christian number one.
Mm.
But if I had my actual choice, then I have Demolition. But if I'm WWE, I'm putting Edge and Christian number one, and I feel like the only reason they didn't do that is because Christian's in fucking AEW.
Well, I guess this all really leads to the people who listen to the show. What do you guys think? Huh? What do you think is the top team in WWE? Let us know.
And speaking
in the
of,
comment section.
another little funny point on top of this, the whole special hosted by recently released Tyler Breeze and Fandango.
Oh.
So, hooray!
Them as a top tag team, or
Well, I don't think they are. No, they're not.
Hmm.
Well, I guess since Adam wants to put it on that sad note, we can go to another sad note here, having this being the last thing on our news segment.
Is it a sad note? This is what the fuck? This is going against your morals.
All right, so it is
So
no secret.
clearly point out that you don't give a fuck.
This
morals.
Yeah, the almighty
So-
dollar is all that really matters.
So it is no secret that Zelina Vega, aka
Thea Trinidad.
Thea
Thea
Trinidad, recently made her return to the WWE, specifically SmackDown last Friday, and
Lord.
of
I
course,
don't care. I
because
don't
of
even
that,
care about the
Okay.
shit. I don't even care about the shit that happened on the show because that doesn't matter. Yeah, she's in Money in the Bank, whatever. Blah, 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 blah. What matters
my
is
problem.
the
You-
situations
you point
that
out-
have arose afterwards, and that is all the stuff with her deleting the unionized tweet and now going back on her word and saying that the dirt sheets were lying about what she said.
Okay. See, the shit like this is what's gonna make me get ratchet more ratchet than Sasha Banks in NXT, and that's saying something. But Zelina Vega, from what I've seen over the years with her, she's a good athlete, she's a good manager. The feud between her and Bianca was pretty good, especially when Bianca pulled up to her house and beat her ass live on Twitch, I think it was. Or whatever.
Yeah, it was on Twitch.
Yeah, it was on
That
Twitch.
shit was great.
Whatever streaming service that they had or whatever. But
That shit was great.
the biggest problem, first of all, how long ago did she tweet that I support unionization tweet?
Right? She was fired.
No, I feel like it was right before she was fired. Like what?
it was literally right
Yeah,
before, like an hour after before she got fired. She tweeted that.
Right, now were they planning to fire her anyway, or
That was the thing. Like, I think she already found out that she was about to be let go, and so she just fucking.
that might have been and I don't know if it was 7 or 8 months ago that happened, but I'm pretty sure it was not at any point during the most recent wave of April 15th releases.
No.
But
I'm being told November.
November. Okay, November. So Zelina Vega tweeting that literally an hour before she got fired, leads me to believe one of two or three things. Either she found out through somebody in the company that she was going to get fired and hadn't gotten fired yet, and then ended up posting that on Twitter just to speed up the firing process, or she didn't know at all, and obviously the business works weird with the way pay rates are for certain people, and she didn't know that she was going to get fired, and she posted that and ended up getting fired an hour later. How can I word this third point? Or she basically just didn't give a fuck. That's the long of the show. That's the best way I could put that last point. I feel like she just didn't give a shit.
I think it was a few weeks ago, there were all those reports that she had been at the Performance Center. Nobody really knew what the situation was. Look, I have nothing against if she... I mean, people have done this forever. Drew McIntyre recently, C3. Absolutely. Everybody, they leave, they go back. The issue I have is going back on the public statements that you made, because now you need to be... Because now you need to be corporate, and now you're blaming the dirt sheets. Who, exactly. It wasn't their fault. They were just saying what you said on your Twitch, on your platform. Your tweets. And now you're trying to completely erase that narrative to protect yourself. Where now you're just making yourself Thea had a shit ton of support, and now you've almost completely squandered that with all the people that were supporting you. Not because you went back to the W, because you've gone back on your word.
Exactly.
I'm glad every single fucking day of my life that I have no part of the fucking wrestling business. I have absolutely no part of it.
We are now.
Well, we're doing a podcast. It's not like we're being fucking promoted or
being
sponsored.
Paid by AEW.
No, fuck, we're not. Shut up. God damn it. But no, I'm absolutely glad that I'm not a part of this fucking business, because I can't fathom being a dumber person of society because of it.
You know what? I want to squander that point. I want to reword what you said. I don't want to be a part of the WWE wrestling business, because the wrestling business as a whole, in different aspects, I go and I look at the independent scene and I see family. I see wrestlers helping wrestlers better themselves. People saying, I don't need to go to the big Fed to make myself a name. I have friends. Absolutely. I have what I need. People in Impact, AEW. The word you're looking for is, you don't want to be a part of the WWE wrestling business, because when somebody leaves Impact, unless it was during the Dark Ages, you don't hear people say, I hated it there. People say I hated being with Dixie or whatever, but they're always saying the locker room was supportive. They're always saying people were supportive. The fans were supportive. Absolutely. Every independent wrestling show I go to, not one person is leaving with a sad face.
It's not
WWE. It's the wrestling business point.
It's not.
You don't want to be a part of
WWE. I will always have a fucking problem with it. After all, it's just the way it is. You can't go into the WWE and have they're a perfectly fine company, because they're not. If you read a fucking single page of anything they've ever fucking done in their careers, that's not a good business.
All these wrestlers who are getting released being everything sucked, but Vince was the greatest.
But
they are full of shit.
CJ Perry just recently stating, I wish there was one thing changed in the release clause, and that was I get to hug Vince before I got fired. Why the fuck do you want to hug the person that just fired you?
But that's the thing I was talking about. It's not the fucking company that I'm talking about. It's the fucking wrestlers. The company. It's the individuality of these fucking wrestlers. It's the individuals as wrestlers. Because I don't know what is with them that gives them half a brain. Every single one of these motherfuckers go into the goddamn wrestling business. It's
this this is where I commend Carl Anderson for his statements on the situation recently. He said, why the fuck are you going to thank the person that just fired you? Just say hashtag fuck yourself and keep on moving.
It's just like, you want to go back. Fine. That's absolutely fine. You want that money? I can't fucking blame you. We're in the middle of a fucking pandemic. People aren't going back to their fucking jobs right now. They're living off goddamn unemployment. So you know what?
Unemployment or welfare and all that shit.
I can't blame you. But for the love of God, could one of you motherfuckers act like a goddamn adult and stop hiding behind not only, the company that fucking fired you, but by the fucking stands that you have, by fucking telling these people and pointing these fucking people into other directions, pointing the finger to other people, and you know exactly what you're fucking doing, going onto Twitter so you can get the fucking report, getting the fucking the support that you want is fucking despicable, and that does not make you a grown-ass adult. That makes you a child. A fucking child. When you literally go around refusing to take responsibility for the actions in which you have caused, and then using your own platform into taking that and pointing the finger elsewhere so that other people will look elsewhere so you can take that blame off of yourself. That is fucking childish. That is fucking childish. And I don't know how in the fuck you can sit there and call yourself a fully functioning adult, because you're fucking not. That's garbage.
Look at somebody like, I'll use Drew as a really good example of somebody who, when he was let go, he made it very clear and out in the open. My plan is to go and work back to get to the WWE. He didn't go out and say, fuck the W, fuck Vince, all this jazz. Oh, okay, now I'm going to go back and go against my word. No, he was always very clear. My plan is to go help the independent scene and then get myself back to that company and prove himself. And I give Drew all the respect because he kept his word and he didn't blame anybody else. He knew what his goal was and he fell through with it. Look at EC3. EC3 ended up going back, got let go, and was like, why the hell did I go back in the first place again?
When it comes to EC3, the first time he got let go when he was known as Derek Bateman, I already knew that when he got let go the first time, he was going to be a major star somewhere else, and that's exactly what he became. When he went back after being in Impact for 3.5, 4 years, almost 5?
About.
I had faith that they would do right by EC3 this time, but after about, 5, maybe 6 months, I already knew EC3 was going to be on the downswing and going to be on the lower mid card and just be treated like shit again, which makes me wonder at the time when they re-signed people that were basically kind of shitty in terms of character development and all that the first time around, why would you re-sign them when they have a greater character than what they did when they first worked for you, and then basically keep on turning chicken salad into chicken shit all over again?
I'm getting word from our side producer in the chat that during the Lana podcast, she had asked for no cut in her contract when she was fired. I mean, for her next contract, she wanted no cut. What?
No.
Yeah, she said, apparently she said that in her podcast with Jericho.
I'm sorry. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't get, what is it about this company that just turns these people? Because look,
they're like fucking zombies, dude.
They're like brainwashed zombies.
They're like fucking,
exactly. You go back to what Hakeem has said. We're going to be having him on soon. They don't care. These wrestlers don't care about you.
They don't.
I'd say 90.
I don't think it's the wrestlers that don't care. It's the corporate upper echelon that don't care. No,
because look at Zelina. That's the example. Who's out there making it public to her fans. Yes, no, this is what I want. This is what I want the business to be. All right, no, fuck all that. I'm going back. I never said any of this. She doesn't give a fuck.
She doesn't.
And it's not just her; it's a lot of people who don't give a fuck.
And they
the
will
majority of
purposefully
it,
and they will purposefully use that and the people that support them and to misdirect their attention to something else. It's ridiculous. They use their fucking fan base as pawns.
They use it as a way to get back to the company that treated them like shit in the first place.
Right.
What's Zelina gonna do? She's gonna I know, she doesn't have any manager. She doesn't have Andrade to fall back on. Alistair's really going completely in the right direction. I think he just signed a clothing deal with
an MMA.
And that's absolutely awesome for him. And then
he's pretty much said he's going to he's going to AEW. I'm just like, what? 95% of these wrestlers are out for themselves. And that's the sad part. And there's a lot of wrestling fans, young, old, and in between, who don't see that and are sadly being used as pawns. And it's awful.
I would exactly say that. I would rather a wrestler be out for themselves and just say that publicly. Just say it out, I'm doing this for me and what I feel is best for my career, than put on this fucking face no, I want this shit better for everybody.
That's what I have for them to do. They go on Twitter and they slyly, put out a tweet talking about their position in the company. Fucking leave. But they don't leave. Nobody says anything. What was it when everybody got released and there was this slow, protest. And no one did anything. It happened a week later, and everything went back to normal.
See, the problem with the WWE superstars most times, especially when they post little cryptic tweets and all that, I personally feel, and yes, this is the everyday thing with WWE fucking superstars and shit, I personally felt for a very long time that any and every time releases come up soon or contractual things come to an end or are close to coming to an end, every time a cryptic tweet comes from a WWE superstar, I feel it's like a doctored or some kind of tweet where it doesn't sound like it's genuinely coming from that person.
Well, a lot of these accounts are managed.
Exactly.
And that's another issue, is that a lot of these people don't know that. Some of these people think that they're talking to the real Alexa Bliss or whatever. But they're also
Tony Stark or Karrion Kross. I feel like Karrion Kross is probably one of the only ones that genuinely monitors his own fucking account. And even then, that's probably not even the case. But at the
same time, all of these accounts are still monitored. They're still kind of informed what to say, what not to say, what to post, what not to post.
Exactly.
It's even your real life can't be sacred anymore.
No.
It's they own you. They pretty much own your go back to the Twitch issue that happened. They own your outside. What do you own? That's yourself anymore. If you work for this company,
it's basically like a fucking conservatorship.
Mm-hmm. It's what happened to Britney.
It's what happened to Britney. It's what happened to Amanda Bynes. It's what happened to somebody else. I forget their name. But Britney and Amanda are basically the two main people in their conservatorships that they don't and can't control anything unless, by some divine miracle, I'm not wishing death on anybody by any means, even though in certain cases it's another story for another time. But unless their parents pass away, they're basically stuck in that conservatorship unless a judge overturns everything. Now, in WWE's case, they basically got all the money and the power in the world to brainwash and manipulate things into going their way how they want, with about 98% of the people that work there, whether they're a wrestler, a producer, or a person in power. They got the power to manipulate just about everybody there.
Yeah. I don't know.
I get the whole
And it's a sad reality.
I get the whole thank you for the time and giving me my platform and all that, but some of these people are going out there putting 4-page paragraphs about all this lovely stuff that they got and stuff, but where was it on TV? Where was it in the real world? Where was it when you were making these cryptic tweets about how you really felt? What's real and what's not, and what exactly are you trying to attempt? What are you trying to get at? Are you just using the platform so that you can get more money, so that you can get a better position? Going out there and being I wish I could have hugged Vince McMahon before I got fired. No.
I'm honestly just sick and tired of just fucking talking, because I see it so much, right. And I've said what I need to say. I've gone off. I'm over it now.
Be with WWE, and this will be my last point on them. At the end of the day, those who leave WWE and don't come back and say exactly how they really feel about WWE, especially in the sense that they had somewhat of a negative experience there, are the people that I respect, but at the same time I kind of sour on. Like CM Punk, for example, yeah, he said how he felt. Yeah, what happened to him, according to him, actually happened. Especially with the staph infection thing. If that is the case, and they basically had a ticking time bomb on their hands in regards to Punk's health back then, had that man died in their ring, they would not have any excuse, especially if Punk's coming to them constantly talking about having these pains, having these health issues and all that. And it still is a mind-boggling thing to this day, and it's 22 years later. The fact that WWE is even still operating even after Owen Hart died on their watch, they have absolutely no fucking excuse to even be running anything right now. They bought out all the territories in the 80s and 90s. There was basically no territories left until Ring of Honor and TNA and all those shows popped up. And now I still don't understand why people would even want to go to the WWE when they know the history behind them, from the steroid trial to Owen's death. The Montreal Screwjob was another one, and I still very much firmly believe that one is a shoot to this day. Nobody will ever change my mind on that. It almost makes me feel like if WCW would have gotten their shit together around the time of WrestleMania 14, financially and booking-wise and all of that shit, we would be living in an era where WCW reigned supreme and WWE would have been left in the fucking dust.
If only.
Well,
if only the woodpecker size.
Well, we're going to move on from that news segment that unfortunately bummed me out a little bit, but we're going to talk about something that didn't kind of bum me out. I thought it was an alright show. Let's talk about violence and suffering, Mosh Pit Killaz.
Now refresh my memory on what kind of company Violence and Suffering is.
See, this is where I'm going to have this is where I'm
minded when it comes to this show.
This is where I'm going to have to toss it to Adam, because this was the first Violence and Suffering show I ever watched. So, Adam,
this is my time to shine, because I was there.
Because I've heard great things about this company, but I'm still fairly somewhat uneducated on what they're all about.
So before we get to that, shout-outs to Jersey Championship Wrestling, who had their Great American Smash show beforehand, which I was also at. Really good show. Go watch it. It's all free. JCW streams all of their stuff free on YouTube for everyone to go watch. Catch me. I'm in the crowd. Really good stuff on that card. Everett Connors and Charles Manson had a really good match.
Everett will acknowledge in here, but that's another story for another time too.
Ricky Shane Page was on that card, of course, standout in the independent wrestling scene. A bunch of other people. Young, Dumb, and Broke had a really good tag match against Jenny Kai, Billy Starks, and Jody Threat. Go watch it. Really good stuff. Again, like I said, it's the Hollow Wicked and Frightmare are still wrestling. If you know your old school Chikara, they were on that show. Check them out again, all free on YouTube.
Absolutely.
JCW. They mostly run before Game Changer shows and now VXS. It's essentially like an NXT for the indies, as a lot of these young and up-and-coming stars get the showcase. So go watch it. Shout out to New Jersey Championship. But now, yes, VXS. VXS has only been around for not even really a year yet. And essentially, they're in the same vein as almost in a Game Changer type way. But they're not really about the hardcore. It is about the athleticism. It's about the action in the ring. They like to do a lot of triple threats and kind of dream-ish matches and like weird mashups. And they're just throwing out some dream contests, including one that happened in the main event on this show. I love to talk about that.
Before we get to that, who are some notable names on this show that me and Zaya and the audience watching and listening that they may or may not know of?
If you know the independent scene and you watch Game Changer, a lot of these names are going to be people that you are going to be recognized. The biggest name on the show, though, by far, was the Machine Brian Cage.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And second only to that of Davey Richards, who was also
Davey Richards. That's a name I haven't heard since Impact.
This was old school fans will remember Facade.
Yeah.
That name isn't too familiar to me.
But then other, main staples of the JCW world, KTB, Jimmy Lloyd.
Jimmy Lloyd, I'm familiar with.
Shane Mercer, Jordan Oliver.
Mm.
And Grim Reaper, if you're an old school independent wrestling fan.
Well,
but yeah, they're very much in like this late '90s, early 2000 aesthetic. The aesthetic of this show was that of GTA 4. Before every match, they start off with the Mortal Kombat gong. The PlayStation 2 intro is essentially like their intro video. Their production work is really, really good. I don't know if you really got to catch any of that. I know there were a few video packages that were played.
There were. It was good for as good as a wrestling company that's been along for VXS has been around. So I'll just keep it at that because I know that they're still working on stuff. Obviously, some stuff can be improved on, but for what they did here on the show, it was pretty good.
Shouts to Isaac, of course, he runs VXS. Follow him on Twitter. But other names that VXS has homed before, not just on this show. They're pretty much the company that has revitalized Too Cold Scorpio's career.
Oh, Scorpio is a fucking legend. He's one of my favorites.
Rich Swann has been on these shows. Homicide, Nick Gage. A lot of big names.
Wait. Homicide? Oh,
yeah, Homicide.
Them fucking stories about a homicide, especially the one that CM Punk told. That's my favorite one.
They've had JTG on VXS before. Dr. Cube, if you're a fan of Big Kaiju Big Battle.
Not too familiar with it. I'll have to brush up on my history.
VXS is doing itself a good service of giving a lot of really cool, interesting matchups. A lot of really interesting ones on this show, including its first ever intergender match, which we'll get to. But we're not going to do a giant review.
I was going to be talking about from the perspective of someone who watched it live, and I will be talking
and somebody who's also been, who's in the scene,
right? And I will be talking as a perspective of someone who hasn't watched a fucking VXS show in his life, and also from someone who watched from his bed. So,
can I give one more quick shout out?
Sure.
Also, this past weekend, go watch GCW's Backyard Wrestling 3, 4th of July special event, old school, legit backyard wrestling in a backyard with some trampolines and some pools. A lot of really fun shit went down there, including a buried alive match in a backyard. So Jimmy Lloyd got his nuts lit on fire and then hit with a weed whacker. Go watch Backyard Wrestling. It's the most fun. Cheeseburger took on that nasty man Leroy. Go watch Backyard Wrestling.
Nasty man Leroy. He is a legend in my book.
You're going to love Backyard Wrestling. It's 3 hours of fun, just nonsensical bullshit, and it's the best.
Now, with a show like this, because recently I just watched Newburgh Underground Wrestling. They're a backyard wrestling company on like YouTube and shit. Go check them out. They have guys like I said I wasn't going to acknowledge them for my personal reasons, but they got guys like Everett Creed on that show. I'm pretty sure everybody knows the name Everett Creed by now. And it's like NUW, Newburgh Underground Wrestling, is one of those backyard wrestling companies that's kind of more of the typical, not necessarily WWE style of backyard wrestling.
Oh, no,
it doesn't have the violent with it. But with this particular show, it brings back the old school vibe of all the violence from like the early 90s, early 2000s with the jumping off of RVs and all that. That right there is the kind of backyard wrestling that I grew up on and that I love. It's basically like the Attitude Era of backyard wrestling.
Yeah. It's pretty much all of the Game Changer Wrestling wrestlers that you would know and love playing their backyard wrestling personas when they were kids, but as grown adults now. It's really fun. It's really cheesy. There was a match for the WWE Spinner title. Go watch it. It was entertaining. But let's get on to VXS.
All right.
Yes, sir.
You can catch that on Fight TV, by the way.
It's about $13. You can watch it on Fight TV.
I don't know how much VXS was.
Oh, no, that was $13 too.
Oh, well, GCW was also $13. But anyway, go check them out. Give them the love and support. Support indie wrestling.
All right. Before the first match, we got...
Did you watch any of the buy-in pre-show stuff?
No, it wasn't available on the replay.
It was on the YouTubes.
I did not watch the YouTube.
Well, there were 2 matches beforehand. One of them was a really good match between 2 guys I was not really familiar with. Nikolai White and Robert Martyr. They had a fine little match.
Robert Martyr. Oh, man.
There.
Now, I'm going to say this about Robert Martyr.
Oh, so you know him.
I know him very well. He's basically, for lack of better verbiage, he's somebody that is very well known in our community, the call community, and
really?
Yes, he's a call dude. He's in the sim side. Sim side, essentially.
Oh, so he's like Jordan Oliver.
Yes.
He's basically one of the sim side of the call community dudes. Obviously, him being associated with dudes like Lance Frisco, for example, they obviously are not too fond of me for the... I'm pretty sure you can tell for the obvious reason that I will explain to them why that won't be a problem anymore.
I'll next time I go on the show, and if I talk to him, I'll bring your name up.
Oh fucking God! No. Then just tell him that I left quote unquote 4 fingers up over there. But Robert Martyr, from what I've seen,
I didn't know that.
Well, you're hearing it here first. I was going to reveal it in a promo in call, but you're hearing it here first. I officially left SWW for my own personal reasons, and I'll talk to you guys about that once the podcast is done. But Robert Martyr is one of those guys who has come up in the wrestling industry and is at a very young age
he's like
finding
20.
his... he's like 20.
He was very young. I was like, holy shit.
He's like 20 years old, but the way he developed in a very, very good way in call, especially promo-wise, he's doing that exact same thing in the real wrestling industry, and that's something that I love because he's taking his... How can I put it? He's taking his personality in call and not adapting, but almost like combining his car personality and his real wrestling personality and giving it like a good blend into what he is in the industry. Yes, he's very young still. Yes, he's going to find his way in the wrestling world, of course. But I have a feeling that if he stays on the path that he's on in terms of real life wrestling, he's going to go a long way. The sky's the limit for him.
I wasn't like blown away, but like he didn't do anything bad or sloppy. He had his in-ring presence. Like I said, they gave these two guys a nice little like 9-minute match to showcase their stuff. We'll see Robert again later on in the show on the main card.
Mm-hmm.
But the second match was a triple threat, another staple that VXS has kind of been. Their thing is these triple threat matches.
We'll talk about these
really good triple threat matches. One of these triple threat matches was not supposed to happen. I'll get into that. But the other one was, which has the spot of the night for me on it. But the second triple threat match of the night was Trey Lamar, another young up-and-coming indie star from the St. Louis area. Casey Navarro. You've seen him on AEW Dark maybe recently.
Casey Navarro. The name is kind of familiar, but I have to watch the matches back.
He's also wrestled in Grimm's Toy Show.
Grimm's Toy Show.
Yeah, whatever. But he's really good. Casey Navarro's got a real big upside. And Kevin Koo, one half of Violence is Forever. You can catch them on MLW. Another really good triple threat match right here. The best thing about these triple threats that they're doing is either they're going to put three guys together who have similar styles, or they're going to go completely in the opposite direction. And that's how this one was. Trey Lamar, more of a ground-based high flyer guy, but still got the technical. Kevin Koo, just in there, kicking shit with kicks and punches, and, you know, he's got that Muay Thai style. And Casey Navarro, your classic high fly showman. Really fun match. Again, both of these matches are free on YouTube. Go check it out. There's also a live concert. There was a mosh pit. Or was that on the main show? Did you see that?
That was on the main show, which was what I was going to bring up.
My friend was in that.
Before the actual show started, we got a little special entertainment before the show started by one NYC Shootout, I believe their band name was.
NYC Shootout.
I don't know how it sounded live, but it sounded like garbage.
Oh, it sounded like garbage live too. I couldn't understand what they were saying.
I mean, with an NYC Shootout, you could pretty much paint the picture.
They're like a rap, like a rap heavy metal band.
Oh Lord.
The music side of it was fine. I enjoyed that. I couldn't understand a lick of what the guy was saying. I was mostly watching the mosh pit and my friend and Alley Cat just mosh together, which was really fun.
Alley Cat is one of the best female wrestlers on the independent scene. I love Alley Cat. A huge fan.
Sorry. Alley Catch. Alley Catch now. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
She's Alley Catch now.
Same difference, but she's one of my favorites on the indies.
It was really fun to see because my friend, huge Alley Catch. So
you're gonna get your fucking eyes clawed out, dude. What the fuck?
I see her at a lot of these shows. I hope she's not listening. If she is, I'm sorry.
No, he isn't.
Very, very nice lady. Really, really sweet lady. I'm not even joking. Alley Catch is an awesome person. So yeah, I guess you saw that whole intro with the band. Yes. I was whatever. The best part for me live at the band was actually looking at the crowd, not the mosh pit side, but the crowd who could have not had any of this. They gave no shit. There was like three guys who were like bumping in their chairs. Everybody else wanted this to get the fuck over with.
Yeah, no, I was one of them because I didn't understand this.
They were trying something. Again, that's the thing about VXS is that Isaac is trying new things to make, obviously, his show different. So having this, like, I guess, little band intro was one of those new things because he's never done this before at the other VXS shows that I've watched.
Was this held inside a church?
It was held inside of a Knights of Columbus, which is like a.
There was like a huge ass Christ on a cross.
Yeah, thing. it's like a gymnasium to a church. Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I thought.
But there was at least mean, it's 250 people, maybe 300.
I just found it funny because
they filled it up. But we're gonna kick right off into our opening contest, which was Gabriel Sky taking on his mentor, his trainer, the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, they built this up as a
Look
student.
this Grim Reaper guy up because I need to brush up on my history.
Yeah, they built this up as fucking student.
I thought this
teacher.
was one of. Now I saw this pre-packaged promo beforehand. Did you get the same one?
I
of,
did.
Like, the two sit-downs.
Uh-huh.
I thought this was one of the better ones of the night.
Yeah, me too. I actually thought the fucking video package of this whole thing was the best thing out of this entire segment. Because I did not. I did not enjoy this match very much.
I
This
think
guy looks
I
exciting, I know.
now
Yeah.
I didn't focus. I went to get a beer, so my visual aspect for the end portion of this was not. I really didn't get to see how it ended.
So,
But I'm a big fan of Gabriel Sky. I think Gabe Sky has a lot of potential to go somewhere. I don't look. Grim Reaper is an older wrestler. He's just getting back into the game. He's only been wrestling again for maybe a few months. This was the crowd loved it. From my aspect, the crowd was eating this one up.
I didn't enjoy.
There was an awesome spot though where Grim Reaper does a dive off of the.
Yeah, he died. He
like,
tosses him off of the he tosses him off of the thing, and the fucking dudes catch Gabriel Sky, and so
yeah, and he.
Reaper
By
just.
the way, he's got a Grim Reaper. His gimmick is that he smokes a joint while he wrestles.
Yeah, so he
Oh,
jumps
God.
off of on top of the guys and on top of Gabriel Sky, and then immediately pops back up, gets a fucking gets a doobie and just lights it up and smokes it. That was great. I like that
right
part.
next to that. I was online getting a beer, and this spot is literally like 2 seconds next to me, and I'm like, oh well, this is fun to wait while I'm online. I enjoyed that part.
So
Not every match on the show is going to be a 5-star classic. It's independent wrestling. You know what we're getting into.
yeah, it was. I just thought they had a good storyline they could have worked with here. Like, it didn't have to be. I think they just kind of overcomplicated it a little bit because they were messing up a lot of spots. I could tell from the beginning that Gabriel was very green because he was having a hard time keeping up with Grim Reaper. Grim Reaper, to his credit, was able to hit a lot of his main signature maneuvers.
He has one of the sickest tornado DDTs.
Yes. That part I loved. The fucking middle road tornado DDT he did on Gabriel.
DDT, yes.
Yes, DDT.
DDT.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, to Walton, to explain how this works is, imagine you're going for the regular, like, tornado DDT.
What, like a 720 DDT?
But instead, you springboard off the second rope with it, and then you hit the DDT.
While
Makes
the
sense.
dude is perched up on the middle
While the
rope.
dude's perched up on the middle rope. Awesome spot. He did that on the JCW show through a table, which was really cool.
Okay.
So, look, I thought for what it was a good opener because the crowd was very much behind Gabe Sky. This crowd is a huge Gabe Sky supporting crowd. The first VXS show that I went to live a few months ago, he was on that show, and he was like one of the most over guys there. So I do think he has a lot of potential. Like I said, Sky is right. He's not the most pristine in the ring, but he's got legs to go somewhere eventually.
Oh yeah,
Absolutely.
no, I think he's got potential. He looks the part. Like
The next match that we're going to talk about, though, sadly, you're going to have to do the entire match because I.
Well, I gotta first get to the finish of this one.
Oh yeah, let's get to the finish.
So,
Sorry, let's get to the finish.
Grim Reaper goes to the top rope. He's looking for something. I'm not entirely sure what it is because I'm not entirely well versed on the Grim Reaper. But he goes off. He misses his flying nothing. Gabriel rolls him up for the 3 count. Fucking Grim Reaper had his fucking shoulder up the whole time, but the referee didn't see it. He counted 3 anyway, and Gabriel Sky gets a win.
Yeah, this is gonna continue on. But the next match, I had to go to the bathroom because during the JCW, I bought a pair of Big Starks brand shorts. Shout out to
Oh,
the
so
Big
you
Starks
missed
brand.
this fucking high school showcase match.
The match between Dylan McKay and Marcus Mathers, two of Matt Tremont's graduates from the H2O Academy.
I literally said, like,
they're tag team partners.
I literally said when I first saw these, when I first saw Dylan walk out, I was like, this dude looks legit like he came right from his fucking band practice club come here.
They're both.
And then fucking commentary just told me that fucking Dylan just turned 18.
Yes.
Jesus.
Yeah, look, you're gonna find that on these JCW and VXS shows, age is just a number. Starboy Charlie, who is 17.
I saw him. I saw that one.
I'm gonna have to stop y'all for a second because one thing we're not about to do is sit here and indirectly quote R. Kelly on this podcast like this.
Oh Jesus! No.
What are we? What?
But yes, I
ain't nothing but a number.
Okay, not like that.
I'm sorry, I had to get at least one.
God damn it. But yes, no. But also shout outs to Billy Starks. She's not on this show, but if you haven't seen her, she is phenomenal, and she's only 16, and she has an entire wrestling brand already to her name. Throughout this show's I don't know if you noticed, but some people were walking around on knee pads or logos that had a BSB brand on it. That is the Big Starks brand. That's her brand that a lot of these other wrestlers are now a part of. Again, she's only fucking 16.
That's ridiculous.
She's going to be a superstar in a few years. She's that good. Big supporter of Billy Starks. So yeah, I went to go and change into the shorts that I wanted. Turned out they had no pockets, so I had to put my other shorts back on, come back inside, and the match was over. So I don't know what happened. But I have a good feeling that it was good because both these guys.
It was all right. Like they didn't go.
I want to make it clear though that this was not an announced match. Dominic Guarini was not able to make it. There was supposed to be a tag team match with Violence is Forever against these two, but since Dom was not able to make it, they gave this singles match instead. So again, I don't know what happened.
That would explain because it didn't look like they had much planned to begin with.
No.
So
well, again, I went to the bathroom to change.
It wasn't a bad match. It was just very short. They didn't do much. It was just basic, like ground game stuff like that. Obviously, they're very green, so a lot of the stuff that they did was very telegraphed. But again, that's something you just learn as you go forward.
Right, you learn and develop it.
Again, the kid's 18.
Exactly. I remember Dylan doing a sick-ass roll-through Falcon Arrow. That was pretty cool to look at. Like I said, it's not much. It's just a basic match. They didn't do anything wrong or botch anything, so that was good. Dylan hits a shooting star press for the victory.
He has a very beautiful looking shooting.
It was really good looking. But
very like Billy Kidman-esque, just graceful in the air with it. So like I said, I've been watching these two for a bit now. They have a lot of potential to have. In a few years, I could totally see them getting some kind of an AEW dark spot, just like how Top Flight did.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, circling back to the Billy Kidman comment, I won't say that Billy Kidman had a graceful shooting star press. It looked good.
No, that's very true.
It looked good, but it was extremely crooked, and truthfully, that's what caused Chavo Guerrero to be out for a few weeks. I would say more along the lines of Matt Sydal.
He doesn't do the difference. The reason I didn't say Matt is because Matt always went to touch his feet.
Yeah.
This is more or less just woo
wee,
and you do it.
Wee is what got Chavo a fucking concussion.
Well, Billy Kidman was how old and whatever. And Chavo, fuck Chavo. Anyway, next match.
Chavo Guerrero is a saint, sir.
Yeah, he is. He's the spirit of Eddie Guerrero. Next match, though, is the first of two.
I hate you.
It's the first of two pure rules wrestling matches. A first for VXS. Going a bit ROH with this one.
Yeah, we got.
And it was Jimmy Lloyd and Lee Moriarty.
Hell yeah!
I'm a huge fan. Lee Moriarty is awesome.
He's my favorite independent.
Did you know about him before this?
I did. I've watched a lot of his. I saw his matches with fucking Alex Shelley, and I also saw the match he had with Gresham back at the spring break last year. And
he just got signed to MLW.
Yes, I saw that. He's going to be...
So that's really good. He's really, really, really good. I was a little afraid that this match wasn't going to be great because as a avid Jimmy Lloyd watcher, Jimmy Lloyd is not the best wrestler in the world whatsoever. He's Jimmy.
To be
Jimmy
fair,
Lloyd.
they worked a pretty good match.
Yes, that is why I enjoyed this match more than I thought I was, because I was pleasantly surprised at how good Jimmy was able to keep up with Lee Moriarty. And to those who don't know Jimmy Lloyd, he is not a wrestler's wrestler by any means. He is the quintessential, like, deathmatch wrestling looking guy. He's like in shape but out of shape. He doesn't really wear wrestling gear. His fucking knee pads are always goddamn falling off. But when push comes to shove, you get something like this, a diamond in the rough, and Jimmy puts on a fucking good wrestling match.
You put on...
I mean...
I will.
He had Lee obviously as his support.
I was about to say that it was very clear in this match that this was not Jimmy's strong suit. Like, Lee Moriarty had to literally like help him along the way which is nothing's wrong with that. Because obviously Jimmy has his thing, you know, he's got his own fucking style.
Everybody has their strengths and weaknesses.
Exactly. And Jimmy is clear. Sahaya saw within the main event. Jimmy is one of these companies' like main focuses on making the company about. So Jimmy's always put in matches, no matter who it's against, to showcase, hey, this is one of our big guys. And this is a big match to put him up against because Lee Moriarty is a huge independent like prospect right now.
Do not be surprised if he ends up on that Mystery Vortex show. I'm just saying it right now.
I wouldn't be surprised either. Shout outs to PWG coming back in August.
August 1st, baby! Let's go!
August 1 warning.
God damn it. Fuck! No!
Okay.
The best part about this is the fact that the pure rules were very much adhered to.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 rope breaks and all that, they had a pretty good wrestling match.
They did. The match came to an end. Yeah, the match came to an end, I believe. Moriarty had Jimmy Lloyd up against the ropes here. Referee came in over to break it up. He punched Moriarty in the face, even though he had just gotten a warning, but since the referee's back was turned, the referee didn't see it, so there wasn't a disqualification. Lloyd takes immediate advantage of that, hits him with the tombstone piledriver for the victory. Obviously, that was when I felt, he's the heel in this situation. Because I wasn't sure.
Yes. Jimmy is very much the heel.
Okay. Because I figured that out, people, when I usually watch these shows, people fucking love this dude, so I wasn't sure.
In VXS, he is very much a heel. He had recently just turned heel, leading up to the VXS show that happened during the Collective, and then obviously what we'll talk about in the main event segment.
Okay. Well,
but then after this,
we got my favorite match of the night to this point.
Really, up to this point. Okay, because my favorite match of the night happens. I have a lot of really good matches that happen later on in this card. The opening card was good, but the rest of this show gets really good.
Yeah.
But up next we had Kevin Blackwood and KTB Kyle the Beast, another JCW throw up the Beast signs. He's also been seen on and also GCW. KTB dubbed the most streamed wrestler because of his AEW Dark appearances lately. Now, I don't know. I want to ask this question to you, Zahaya.
Mm-hmm.
In between this match and the KT and the Jimmy Lloyd match, was something airing for you?
Airing?
Did you see any, was there any video promo between the two matches?
There was, and then we came back, and then the crowd looked like there was something else, there was something going on.
So this is what I want to bring up then. Okay, so during the show, during the Moriarty,
I think I know what you're about to talk about.
There was a fan in the crowd. Now I'm on the other side of the gymnasium. So I wasn't really able to get an identification of what exactly happened to this guy. But during the Jimmy Lloyd match, there was a small section that started to chant, "Throw him out," to one of the guys. And VXS has a huge-ass security guy.
Yeah.
And he's over there talking, and nothing comes of it yet. Until after this match, during your video package, all of a sudden, I'm talking to my friend, and 3 wrestlers have this dude, Adolf, fucking headlock, lifting him up, and they are tossing this dude out of the building. I come to find out from my friend, who is literally walking out of, I see him walk out of the bathroom to where all this is happening in like the little like walkway into the building, and his face is like, what the shit? He comes over to tell us that this dude is on the floor bleeding, belligerently like yelling at people. We find out that he was being very unruly. There might have been some homophobic comments. Apparently, he might have been doing something inappropriate with one of his lady friends at the show.
Oh, yeah, that's a huge no-no. Homophobia and possible...
Yeah, that's what I was told.
I don't want to say sexual harassment, but...
No, that's what I was told on Twitter. Like, the dude was saying some fucking slurs during it and he got knocked the fuck out.
And my friend said he was bleeding, and his friends were trying to like help him, and he was like swatting at them, and so like this went on for a few minutes, until the moment that really brought the crowd back was this crazy streamer segment, which I assume you also got to witness.
I fucking hated this.
Oh, I got to throw one of them.
No,
I threw one of them.
I was sitting there. I had to sit there for fucking 5 minutes while you assholes were throwing streamers in the crowd while I was waiting for this fucking match to start.
Because he's the most streamed wrestler.
I hate this. Gimmick.
So everybody starts tossing these bright-ass purple streamers in the ring. The KTB and Kevin start tossing them back into the crowd. The crowd starts tossing the streamers back into the crowd. Kevin and KTB are just like, God fucking damn it. The referee's all kinds of done.
I was done. I was fucking done.
I enjoyed it a lot because, like I said, you might have hated it watching it at home, but because of what had just happened, that crowd needed some form of levity, and this really got everybody back on track.
Fine, if that's the case, fine. I will gladly accept that I wasted my fucking time.
It did seem like that was the plan, because after that situation was going, there was a guy walking around handing streamers out to people. And then this streamer fucking thing just goes on for 5 minutes. It was amazing.
Oh my god. Alright.
But this match was really good.
This match was really, they beat the shit out of each other, which I love.
Now, again, I'll ask the same question because I want to get your input, and the same goes for Walton. Are you familiar with either of these two men?
I am familiar with KTB because I've seen him on the I saw him on Joey Janela's Spring Break #2. Like a few years ago, and I really liked him then. And ever since that, I've just been kind of watching him on and off. So I'm glad to see that he's progressing. I knew wasn't he in a fucking tag team with Shane Mercer at one point?
Yeah, Iron Beast. They're still together.
I love that. I love that team.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very familiar with KTB. I have heard of Kevin Blackwood. I've seen him on Twitter. I've not watched a lot of his matches. I know
another man who you can catch on Dark.
Yeah, I was about to say, I know he was on the early Dark shows back when the pandemic was getting started.
Yeah.
So that's
well, are you familiar with either of these two men?
I feel like I've heard of Kevin Blackwood at least once. But I don't think I've seen any of his matches quite yet.
I would go out of your way.
Outside of maybe a couple of clips on Twitter. As far as KTB, I'm not familiar with his work. So I'm probably going to look him up too.
He's like your average big guy who does flippy shit. But he's got this really great gimmick where
he does the devil horns thing with his hand.
He does it. Everybody fucking does it. Everybody's throwing up the devil horn.
because they're all fancy rock bars, but that's besides the point.
And this match was really good.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed Kevin Blackwood's.
He was
really
trying to kick him down and
style.
shit. Like, he was fucking doing the kicks, and the KTV was having none of it. He just started tossing his ass, and he started beating the shit. He hung him up on the fucking ropes in like a tree of woe position. He chopped him and booted the shit out of him. I loved it. The whole
match was really fun.
The whole point of the story was that Kevin Blackwood would try to knock him down, and he'd try to pick him up, but he could never do it. And it wasn't until, like, fucking KTB was like, fucking hit me, is where fucking Kevin started coming back at him. He started knocking him down, got him up for the Death Valley Driver. He got a huge pop from that. I love that. Finish of the match, though, came, like, when Kevin Blackwood was going up from the top rope. He tried to go for a double foot stomp, I believe, but it immediately got countered into a single leg Boston Crab from KTB, wins with the fucking straight shooter, gets the tap out victory. I love this match. This is everything I ever wanted in a match.
KTB being able to do such a clean reverse like that from the double foot stomp is really impressive for a man his size.
Yes.
And then, again, this is, it's an independent show, so you're not going to always get, like, Claymore gets the victory, Mr. Curb Stomp. You'll get crazy-ass random, like, endings like this, where all of a sudden, straight shooter, and that's the match. And I enjoy that, where, like, anything can really end a match, so you never really know when it's going to end. It's not like, oh, he hit his finisher, it's like, oh shit, he just won out of nowhere with a sharpshooter, with a single leg Boston. Okay, cool.
Right. So you're gonna have
the next match.
You're gonna have to fucking do your best.
I'm gonna have to fill you in on this here.
What the fuck this was?
So Nolan Edward, who I'm a huge fan of.
He just walked around with a fucking can mask.
No flinch, Nolan Edward with his valet girlfriend Riley Madison. Is she a looker?
Very attractive.
Two very nice people, by the way. I got a picture with them afterwards. Really nice people.
What'd you say the girl's name was?
God damn it. Riley Madison.
Riley Madison. I'm going to look at her
Nolan Edward, an up-and-comer. He's only kind of been hitting the scene in the past few months since the pandemic. Arguably a deathmatch guy, but he's now trying to shimmy himself out of that.
What is this mask thing?
It's his gimmick. It's what he looks like. It's his thing. Whatever. Everybody's got to have.
But he looks fucking. He's pretty.
Oh yeah, that's another point. He's no flinch Nolan Edward. He's like a pretty deathmatch boy.
Of course.
And was originally supposed to fight Nick Gage tonight on the show. Nick Gage was pulled. They say for circumstances they couldn't control. I have to believe that Brett Lauderdale, being the smart booker and owner that he is making sure that Gage is not hurt for the Cardona match coming up.
Yeah, understandable.
Because this current weekend in Texas, there is a double nighter for GCW up in Texas, and Nick Gage will be defending the title against Alex Colon in a death match.
So one of the greatest.
One of the greatest. Damn right he is. So they're going to have a traditional, good old-fashioned death match, and I think Brett's really trying to make sure that he doesn't lose his meal ticket before Homecoming.
Right.
So that's my guess on why Gage was pulled from this show. In the place, Nolan Edwards was going to have his traditional no-flinch open challenge, which was accepted initially by
Dr. Cube! I love this dude. Alright,
it wasn't Dr. Cube, was it? No,
it was a fucking
Jody the wrestler.
Was that Jody the wrestler?
Jody the wrestler.
That was Jody the wrestler.
Doesn't he go by
Cube?
Doesn't he go by Jody himself or something?
He's Jody.
Okay.
And and here comes Dr. Cube though from behind. And sprays Jody in the face with the black
he fucking he fucking sprays him in the face, and he fucking kills him with the backdrop driver.
And then the match starts.
And
the match starts going, and Nolan is essentially in what looks to be like a handicap match because Dr. Cube's got all his nurses helping.
Dr. Cube,
out of nowhere,
is going fucking crazy.
Yeah, go ahead.
Dr. Cube's going
Dr. Cube is crazy.
Like, out of
crazy
his fucking mind. Like, I'm gonna fucking kill this dude. Get the fuck out of the way. I'm gonna fucking end his life. Like, you get to... By the way, before I go any further, because this needs to be brought up, fucking commentary team.
I don't know who was on commentary for you guys.
Emil...
MLJ?
MLJ and fucking...
MLJ's the best.
Julius Smokes!
Hell yeah! Julius Smokes is on commentary!
What the fuck? Why is this dude's problem?
No. First of all, why does that sound like a fucking... Why does that sound like a name you would see in the backyard wrestling video games? Julius Smokes.
During this whole thing, I got from Julius Smokes was, play that funky music, white boy. That was his signature catchphrase, by the way. He said that every single fucking match. There was a fucking Kunta Kinte reference on this guy, by this fucking guy. There was. I heard it with my own ears. He fucking called Jordan Oliver young, dumb, and full of cum so many goddamn times.
Oh, that's amazing.
No.
That's amazing. Listen, Jordan Oliver is that kind of guy. He'd love that.
Dumb and full of cum.
Young, dumb, and full of cum.
Shout outs to Julius Smokes. I didn't know he was there.
I don't even know if XPW was that lewd.
Yo, fuck that shit.
This dude was out of his fucking mind.
And yeah, look, I love MLJ. MLJ is great. One of the best ring announcers in wrestling today.
I don't know if between the two they call a single move on this match.
So, during this match, Nolan Edwards trying to fight off Dr. Cube and his minions. Riley's trying her best to cheer her man on. When out of the fucking blue, Cole Radrick shows up.
Fucking face.
This is Cole Radrick. I assume you don't know who this is.
I saw him once during the fucking spring break match, and that was it.
Cole Radrick is another really good up and coming wrestler. He's had some really good matches, and he had a really good match last summer against Kylie Ray in GCW. That match was really, really good. He has a lot of upstart potential. He's not, so all of us, I guess now he's in this match now. And so we got a triple threat all of a sudden. And this match is chaos.
This doesn't even fucking make any sense. I was so confused. What is happening? Who is this fucking guy in the goddamn, the unitard? Why is this dude wearing... Why is he so pretty and wearing a cane mask? Why the fuck is Dr. Cube acting like a fucking psychopath? I was so lost.
My estimation is we don't have Nick Gage. Madness. Just madness.
I don't even remember what the fucking finish of this match. I think Nolan won.
He did. Yes, he did. Nolan won.
Okay.
By, I believe he pinned Cole? I don't remember because this match kind of wasn't.
Because fucking
wasn't really a match. This match was a clusterfuck.
Dr. Cube got fucking taken out early, so yeah, he got. It was on. It had to be on Cole.
This match was a clusterfuck. I don't know how it comes off for you. Clearly, you had a much different experience.
What the fuck?
But live, it was. Also, what the fuck, but in a better aspect, because it was literally like, what is happening?
I don't know what's going on.
There's nurses that are just dead around ringside everywhere. Nolan and Cole essentially become a tag team for a little bit of this match, taking out Dr. Cube and his nurses. Then they start going at it. They have some really good back and forth that I enjoy. Again, I'm a big fan of both of these guys. Got to talk to Cole, actually. Before his match, during intermission, said one of the proudest moments of his life is not having a wrestling action figure, but is the fact that he has his own edible. So shout outs to Jonesy on Twitter. Go check him out.
Edibles, eh? Now you're speaking my language, sir.
Yeah, shout out to Jonesy on Twitter for all your baked good needs. But yeah, so this match was a thing. It has nothing. It's nowhere near the triple threat that we're going to talk about next.
This triple threat that we saw that was up next was fucking out of its mind, and that's either in both the good ways and the bad ways.
This match had the spot of the night, and I know this is going to bring
that finish was fucking ridiculous, and I loved it. But
so this match was Ty Hill, who I was very unfamiliar with.
Me too.
Dante Leon, who I'm a huge. I watched like his upcoming, like his first VXS match, which was literally his first wrestling match, period, on like any independent show. He fought Jordan Oliver. I've been watching him for a few months now, and he's so good. He's like if Jeff Hardy came in wrestling today, like that's like he's got the crazy like tie-dye shirts, and like he wears like the flannel around his waist. He's got the rip pants. He's got the tie-dye hair. Does some of the sickest fucking moves. He does the only way I could describe it as a flipping spider crawl RKO out of the corner. He did not hit his beautiful corkscrew RKO that he also does.
Is it that one where you like do the RKO but you spin around in midair before
No. He does a standing shooting star corkscrew off the top rope into an RKO.
That sounds like some early CZW shit.
He has very early CZW look to him. He's also very young, really cool guy. Love Dante Leon. Keep watching out. He is going to be something. And then, of course, legend of the independent scene, Facade.
Neon Ninja, baby!
The Neon Ninja. Go, Ninja. Go, Ninja. Go.
I watched this dude in Evolve, and he was great.
I've been watching this dude for, oh, God, I don't even remember how long at this point. Facade's been around for so long. And these three put on a hell of a cruiserweight match.
It was.
They did.
It's like
there was shit in this match I've never seen.
It's very much like a match you would a multi-man match you would probably see like in ECW. You know, just very chaotic, very out there, but also not all of it works. But by the end of it's like.
But that adds to it. This is kind of their thing.
You can tell that they were working hard by the end of it.
The triple threat that we got before this is not the kind of triple threats that VXS is like making themselves known. It's these extravaganza triple threats that they're kind of like dubbing, where they're putting like three guys who can do crazy high fly stuff, or they'll put three guys who don't really have the same same wrestling ability, and then throw them out there to see what they can do. And you get crazy shit like this. Ty Hill does a springboard, to the outside springboard corkscrew, whatever the fuck it was. Like Facade, of course, doing his awesome shit. He hits the tightrope drop kick, which I always love. He coast to coast in this match.
He literally caught. I think it was fucking. Who was it? I think.
Are we talking about the Spanish Fly?
Yeah, the Spanish Fly.
Oh, I think it was Dante. Ty Hill is perched up on the top rope. It looks like Dante is going for something. And then Facade, because he's crazy, just out of nowhere, pops up springboard, brings himself to the other side of the ropes, on the other, in between Ty on the ring apron, springboards to the other, that Carlito RKO that's really
Yes.
Good? Yeah.
That one.
He does that, but he springboards over to the other side where Dante is, and then boom, Spanish Fly.
It was nuts. It was ridiculous. And
it was beautiful. It was so crisp. But, I mean, we could go on about all the moves in this match, but it's the ending. And Walton, you brought up earlier about, the innovation of Canadian destroyers, right?
Absolutely, yes.
Have you ever seen a Doomsday Device Canadian destroyer?
Yes, I have, actually, on a couple of occasions. Matter of fact, I think the one that I saw is actually what we're referencing now. I think I saw a clip of it on Twitter not even a week ago.
Well, so basically what happened, ending of the match, it was Dante Leon who had Ty in the corner, get him with a kick, had him set up on his shoulders, looking for something. But who should come from the heavens above but the Neon Ninja Facade? And out of his goddamn mind, literally decides, you know what? Ty doesn't. Living's overrated. Fucking Doomsday Destroyer right on his head. Gets rid of Dante. Pins Ty because he's fucking dead. 1, 2, 3 gets the victory. Couldn't have gotten a better ending than that. Could not have. Absolutely fantastic ending. I liked a lot of what they did in the match. Again, not all of it worked, but you could tell all 3 of these men worked hard, and they gave that crowd something to remember by the end of it.
Absolutely.
So, good job.
Not just by the end of the match, but for the rest of their lives and for all
that
time.
whole crowd were on their feet for that ending. It was I was not ready for a Doomsday Device Canadian Destroyer.
Exactly. And if any companies that are bigger than this one want to take notes from little shows like this right here is your first go-to. Take notes on the chemistry, because like we've seen on like the Raws and the NXTs and the SmackDowns, they just put people together that have little to no chemistry sometimes. But there be those rare moments where you put like for example, like MSK versus Grizzled Young Veterans. Like those 2 teams, they haven't faced each other a lot, but they have phenomenal chemistry. Other times you get women's matches on Raw, like an Asuka versus Eva Marie, for example, like on a semi-hypothetical note. Like Eva in the ring is like basically like an uncooked turkey. Like, you try to eat an uncooked turkey, it's not going to taste good. You see Eva Marie wrestle in the ring, she wrestles like Bambi on ice, essentially.
So, after that, we get to my match of the night. The second Pure Rules match of the night.
And the first intergender match for VXS.
Yeah. It is Masha Slamovich, who I did not know she used to wrestle for fucking Sendai Girls. That's pretty cool.
And Masha is somebody that
I'm thinking it's Sendai Girls because
Masha is somebody that I'm a little bit familiar with just from seeing her on Twitter and all that. So
this is my first time watching a full Masha match, and she was taking on Daniel Garcia,
who I just recently found out after I watched a match between him and Lee Moriarty on YouTube about a few days ago.
He's in that group with Kevin Blackwood, and like he's part of this Buffalo triad.
I love the nickname Red Death, though. That's a great nickname.
Yeah, and these 2 put on a wrestling match.
Fucking absolute clinic these 2 put on. Like, people who say that intergender wrestling doesn't work, that's bullshit.
Look at this match.
Hey, shit.
Look at this match.
Fucking
Masha kept her stride with Daniel this entire match. And she had some really, really good moments of just like, hit me, motherfucker.
At no point did I feel like either of the 2 were carrying each other. These 2 were like fucking going at it toe to toe, and they were on equal footing for a good majority of this matchup. It was so freaking good, and it's just.
And on top of that, by the way, Robert Martyr in Daniel Garcia's corner, he's kind of like his young boy.
Yeah, even though fucking Garcia's only 2 years older than him, I found out.
Yeah, but even still, mentorship is better. Mentorship is basically within everybody, especially if they've been in the business longer.
You want to talk about using the Pure Rules to add to the story. When it came down to the there's a spot where I think it's Masha and Daniel are over in the corner, and I think it was Daniel had to grab the rope, which had to break his count, but then Masha also had to do something. It was hard for my vantage point. Maybe you have a better vantage point.
Yeah, I know what you're talking. It's like he had a chokehold on her, which he had to get out, but he was using the ropes as well, so that counted towards both of their use of the ropes.
Which only left them with 1 left apiece, and I feel like the last ditch efforts that both of them had to use that like, when is it going to have to happen? like that build and tension for this match was really well done.
Absolutely.
And the ending is so good.
Fucking, I just gotta point out, this fucking dude, Daniel Garcia, he's fucking pile driver. Picture perfect. Just
very good.
Absolutely incredible. Like, you're gonna have to, I'm struggling to find, like, someone who could possibly have a better, pile driver than he does. But, finish of the match.
Masha kind of reminds me of, like, Beth Phoenix and Shayna Baszler.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
She's good at going places.
Yeah.
So, finish of the match, Daniel hits the pile driver. She kicks out. Daniel at this point is just trying to get any submission he can. He's got the Fujiwara, transitions that into a fucking triangle. He's trying every single way to just trying to tap out Masha. He's getting desperate. Masha's able to get out of it. Masha goes out the ropes. Daniel tries to get her with the clothesline, but she goes behind and transitions it into a cross armbar and submits Daniel Garcia for the victory. Just
great match.
Well done. Just a very, very great match. Both of these.
I've always said, like, I'm not the biggest mat wrestling fan, but this match was too good.
Absolutely.
I popped out of my seat for one of the moments in this match. I can't remember. It was so much happened. But, like, there was, wow, these two came to play.
Because like if you look at like great mat wrestlers of the past, like, and again I hate to have to bring up certain names, but because it's like mat wrestling, it applies. Like WrestleMania 17, for example, like Benoit versus Angle, Backlash 2001, Benoit versus Angle. Like you got two of the best mat wrestlers in the world at the time. Like nobody could do it as good as they did, even if they wanted to. Then you look at the mat wrestlers on the indies of today's generation, and you see some of the same similarities that Benoit and Angle had back then that these guys have now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, especially
this also just sorry, go ahead.
I was just like, because I was like, for sure, like I haven't watched United States independent wrestling for a while now, and that's mainly because I feel like, I don't know, like the actual wrestling portion of it isn't being very well represented right now. But seeing people on this card like Lee Moriarty and guys like fucking Daniel Garcia, like it does help. It helps me.
Well, like I said, I feel like that's what VXS is trying to do, or to make themselves stand out, is they don't want to just be the deathmatch company or like the indie. They want to showcase as much wrestling variety as they can, and it's all up and down on this card.
Oh, absolutely.
Like this whole card, you have your mat matches like this. Of course, you got your beef match coming up next that we're going to talk about. You have your crazy triple threats with your flippy shits. You have your madness, whatever the hell happened with Dr. Q. Like
you don't want it to be too one-dimensional. You want to have a little bit of everything.
And that's why I feel like VXS is really is going to stand out more once it gets that recognition. It's got some really good legs. But this match was great. Both people got a really great standing ovation. But there is a little bit of aftermath.
Yeah, after the match, you can see Daniel Garcia just very much, he's distraught. He's not happy about the loss. Robert's in the ring, and it looks like Robert's trying to cheer him up, but Daniel Garcia tried to turn the tables on him. He tried to fucking pile drive his young protege, but his arm gave out on him. He couldn't do it.
Which was so good. The selling of that was so well done.
Absolutely.
The fact that he was like, shit, I'm too hurt to even get my anger out on you.
And then he just left, and
then he leaves. And that's the end of that match, but what a match.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the match of the night for me is the next one.
Brian Cage versus Shane Mercer. This match was batshit insane.
Why is Shane Mercer not signed to a bigger company yet?
I have no idea. What the... Alright, I'm gonna be completely honest. Like, I've seen Shane Mercer before. Obviously, you brought up what was it, Iron Demon? Iron Beast, the tag team.
He's the Iron Demon.
He is the Iron Demon. So obviously, I've seen him before. I've seen him work. I've seen him toss around like the smaller dudes. Like he's supposed to be a power man, but he's tossing around smaller dudes. It's like, and it's not like to say that isn't impressive. I just didn't know what the full thing of his like strength was, because obviously he's just taught. He has these guys up on one arm, and that's impressive enough. I just didn't know what the full fledged, what his limit was.
You get it in this match.
Holy shit! This dude is powerful.
He hits a bit. He hits the Bandito moons, like the crossbody, not crossbody, the fall away moonsault that Bandito does off the second rope to Brian Cage with ease.
He fucking.
And Brian Cage by no means is a cruiserweight, despite being around like one.
In person, this dude is fucking yoked.
Dude's like built like a fucking boulder, and you got fucking Shane Mercer military pressing him up on his shoulders with ease. Like it was nothing. This dude's a madman. I love it. I love Shane Mercer. Get him to
Shane Mercer's so cool.
Sign him to a fucking like a big AEW. Get the fuck on this shit. But
this match is big boys doing big boy shit and also crazy shit. Brian Cage hitting his patented suplex from the ring apron into the ring onto Shane with ease. Again, like we said, Shane just manhandling Brian Cage. That's not a sentence.
No.
It's also something you don't see often.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
Also, Shane can fly. I don't think he did any. I don't think he did much of that in this match, but he can also fly.
He's fucking freak of nature. He's a freak athlete. This is what he is.
He's He's almost a modern day Scott Steiner.
Yeah.
And like in his demeanor as well, like he comes out, he's just like fired up. This dude is raging. I got to like fist bump him on the way to the ring. So Haya said he didn't see that.
I did not,
which is a shame. But this dude fired up, jacked up, yoked. He's just Him and Brian start at the beginning, just start doing the usual like you hit me, I hit you. We're going back and forth. Oh my god! Oh my god!
It's just alright, so
what match?
It's just ridiculous. This whole match is at one point Brian Cage tries to hit the F5000 on him, or the deep sea diverticulitis. He hits it, but fucking Mercer just eats it.
That.
He is like, what the fuck is this shit? It was so good. And then they do the fucking forearm spot, and then fucking he tries to take his head off with the discus lariat. Cage hits him with the flatliner, which he then immediately transitions into the fucking drill claw for the victory. Nutty match. Just absolutely madness.
Brian Cage afterwards pretty much putting over not just the independent scene, but Shane Mercer very hard as well, pretty much stating that, he has the beautiful wife, he has the money, he's on some network on some station, but it's matches like this and it's companies like this is why he still does independent wrestling, is because it's wrestling and he loves to do what he does. So great guy Brian Cage is.
Who better?
And also putting over Shane Mercer. I want these two again.
Who better?
So great semi-final main event of this card, because we gotta get into the next match, which I enjoyed, but I want to hear you talk about this because you're not a fan of either of these guys.
No, all right. Let me preface this by saying I love Davey Richards. I don't know where you thought that I don't fucking like Davey Richards. Like, where
you're always talking about Eddie.
I love Eddie too. I think they're both great. Fucking Davey. Here's my thing, and it was made very clear in this match. Jordan Oliver like, great, like, good baby face. Probably a great dude.
Listen, dude, he's over as fuck.
Yeah.
Every show I go to, every show I've been to so far that he's on, over as fuck. I was there. I was pounding the ring apron. Did you see me doing that?
No.
Damn you.
Yeah.
I look. Is this really the guy you want as your ace right now? I mean,
yes.
like right now.
For a company like this that's on the up and coming,
like
Jordan Oliver is that guy. Jordan Oliver's that dude.
I feel like
big breakfast.
I get it. And I get that he's over, and I'm glad that he's over, but he's still very
young. Dagger Dick.
I'm just saying this right now, and this is like, no disrespect to him, but I watched Davey during this whole match, and it was like, this dude's still like better than 90% of the whole fucking wrestling field.
Oh, absolutely. No, Davey came back, and if I'm not mistaken, is this not his...
This was his first match in 4 years.
And he still looked great. He was in great shape, and he put on a great performance. He even told me a little side thing, because I talked to him. He said, yes, him and Eddie are going to be, it's going to happen.
Yes.
So, hey, that's us. We just dropped a big spoiler.
But look, listen here.
But listen, I thought he brought Jordan to a very good match.
He did bring it, and that's the thing, though. If Jordan's going to be the top guy, he needs to be bringing that himself.
He did a lot of really good shit in this match.
But a lot of it was, like, very much helped by Davey being being the fucking best.
Yeah, but that's going to be Davey. He's going to obviously, like, besides this match, I mean, this will be, like, one of the few times I guess we'll get to really talk about him. Like, you've seen other Jordan Oliver matches where he doesn't fight Davey Richards.
Yes.
And you're still critical of it.
It's very, he's very young and he's very green.
And dumb and broke.
It's...
Young, dumb, and broke.
I just want the whole conversation, he's one of the best on the independents. Can we calm that down?
He wouldn't have an MLW contract.
A little bit. I'm not saying he's not good, but one of the best on the indie scene,
for pure wrestling ability. Yes.
The pure wrestling? Are you fucking joking to me?
No, not like pure wrestling, but like compared to like the deathmatch guys or like the really other green guys, he's one of the bigger names right now.
He is very good.
That's not been eaten up.
He's good
everywhere
for a dude his age. I'm just saying, best on the scene right now. I don't see it right now.
I'm not saying he's the best.
I'm not saying he's the best.
Definitely, if I had a top 10 list, he's on that list.
I don't even think he's in that top 10. He might make top 20, maybe.
Wow. Now, Walton, are you at all familiar with Jordan Oliver's wrestling work?
Jordan Oliver, obviously the name is fairly familiar. His wrestling work, I'm going to have to brush up on some of my memory, but I do know that I have seen at least one match of his. I don't remember who he was facing, though. But I do remember the match being fairly decent. So, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I do know that I remember the match that I saw of his was fairly decent.
Look, what he did here was fine. He didn't mess up anything. It was all good. But by the end of it, I did not come away with this thinking Jordan Oliver is one of the best wrestlers on the independent scene. I got out of this, holy shit, Davey Richards is still as good as he fucking ever was.
And obviously Jordan was giving him a lot.
Was he?
It's Davey.
What did he do? He was selling for a majority of the match.
But I mean, like, the point of this match was not... Look, the point of the match was, hey guys, Davey Richards is here, and he's back, and he's great. The story of the match is the aftermath stuff with Jordan and Jimmy. This match was not meant to make Jordan look like the superstar, but it was meant to make him like Jordan's now fighting Davey. And he's on that level that he can be having these big matches against these other bigger names like Davey. And I think he came to play. He didn't fuck up. He showcased what he could do. Obviously, Davey's going to outshine him because Davey's been doing this longer. Even if he's gone 4 years, there's a lot of people who stay in that good shape who still have it. Like, not everybody's able to come back in 4 years. And look at Christian, for example. 7 years gone, and the dude's still the same best that he's always been.
Exactly. Like, he stayed in pretty good shape for all those years. But there's also those other guys like a Too Cold Scorpio, for example. Like, he's in his mid-50s, but still in the best shape of his life. He's in the same shape he was now that he was 25, 30 years ago when he's CW. And he's still flipping and flying around the ring like nobody else. Like, he's still one of the best high flyers in the industry, and he's almost 60 years old.
So this match pretty much goes like, obviously, Jordan Oliver is the young, dumb punk in the ring with the seasoned veteran. Davey Richards just takes this motherfucker to town. Like, he is kicking the shit out of him. He is stretching him out. He is just giving him the full Davey Richards experience. But Jordan Oliver, being the young, fiery upstart he is, he won't give up. He won't stay down for Davey Richards. He constantly fights back. One thing I did like is that he did like this slingshot stunner near the corner. That looked pretty cool. I will give him that. Other than that, Davey Richards, if you want to know how good fucking Davey Richards is at controlling a fucking crowd, he did a fucking superplex spot that pretty much got the biggest reaction almost this entire match besides the ending.
Okay, I can give a little clarity for that reaction. It's not mostly off of a suplex spot. It's because the ceiling was very low and everybody was all hoping that somebody would hit their foot.
You couldn't let me just have it. You couldn't let me fuck
No, I'm not going to let you have it because that's not the reason. I was there. You can't fight me. I was there.
Can't fight. I know what I heard. I watched the show. I know what I heard, and I heard the reaction to which he got. I will admit there was one cool point in the match where fucking Davey hits him with the penalty kick, and Oliver hypes himself back up, and they do the forearm exchange. That looked cool. That looked fucking cool. Yeah, after that, pretty much Davey Richards is in control. He's got the ankle lock. He's been locking that ankle lock in during that match, but he locks in the ankle lock again at one point, but surprise, surprise, Jordan Oliver gets the roll up. 1, 2, 3, roll up victory for Jordan Oliver.
Surprise!
Gets surprised Davey Richards on his first match back in 4 years. And I will say this, that's a big victory for Jordan Oliver. If you want to get a guy over, that is exactly how you do it.
Exactly, and it's also a big victory for him if you're like one of those wrestling historians that basically know the ins and outs of basically the entirety of Davey Richards' career up to this point. It's definitely a big win for him in general because he's not getting a win over just anybody. He's getting a win over a former ROH world champion. So that accolade in itself, getting a win over a former world heavyweight champion, that will definitely do wonders for your career. It'll definitely take you to the right places that you want and need to go.
After the match, though, Jimmy Lloyd comes out, blindsides Oliver.
Yeah, son of a bitch. We're all there chatting on the ring apron. He's our ace, and here comes Jimmy Lloyd to ruin the party. Pretty much stating the fact, this is pretty much what Zahaya here is saying. This is your ace. This is who you want fighting for the company. You know, I'm not even on the poster, but I'm here all the time busting my ass. And this is the guy you want to cheer for and you want to boo me. Starts to beat him down, pulls out a cigarette, lights it, then burns Jordan Oliver with the cigarette.
I'll admit I enjoyed that.
Jimmy Lloyd gets pretty much says fuck you all and leaves. And I don't know how the show ended for you.
That was pretty much
with the crowd chanting for Jordan, and that was that.
So yeah, all in all,
yes, I'll say for all.
All in all,
How did you enjoy it?
I thought this was a pretty good show. I won't say it was like great, one of the best indie shows I've seen ever, but in terms of just letting me know, who they're going with, what the show is all about, who these people are, I would say it did a decent enough job in doing so. I wish that like some of the matches got to spotlight, some of the, character of some of these wrestlers. Like for Nolan Edwards, I'm still not entirely sure what his whole gimmick's about, and I wish
And
that
the match being canceled really factored into that, I think.
I didn't really get much on his own personality, and I don't think I did as well with Cole Roderick. So but just in terms of pure wrestling, this was a pretty good show. A lot of showcase on the younger talent, which is good. That's exactly what you need, especially if you're starting up a company like this. You want these guys, these newer guys, to be on the forefront so that this could be the place where newer guys could make the leap forward, which is, I think, is.
I want to make it clear that a majority of the people on this show had also wrestled the same day at the show that I was also just at, 3 hours beforehand. So a lot of these guys were doing double duty, and they were still cranking out matches that were good, not showing any sweat or drained heat. They were all still on top shelf. Grim Reaper, for one of them, was involved in pretty much a hardcore match. Jimmy Lloyd was on the show beforehand. KTV was on the show beforehand. So, all these guys, still double shifting working, and they're still putting out really good content. They're getting their chance to show their craft more and more by having these opportunities. That's what these companies are doing. That's why I'm such a big fan of all the companies that are pretty much associated within the Game Changer Wrestling family. All of that whole community is doing wonders, not only as for the wrestling fans by making a community that is open to everyone and anyone, no matter the race, color, or sexuality, giving all of these wrestlers, no matter the age, young or old, an opportunity to either showcase what they can do up and coming or give somebody an opportunity to get back into the scene, like Too Cold Scorpio or Grim Reaper in this example on this show, or Davey Richards. So, I can't. Yeah, I agree with you. It wasn't the greatest independent show I saw. I had an amazing time at it. I got a lot of really good stuff out of it. It's companies like this that are going to strive and keep the independent wrestling community alive and flourishing for years to come. The question for you is, though, would you watch another show?
Absolutely. I enjoy myself. I could feel myself, especially if this is if this was them very much not 100% planned for what was going to happen, I would very much like to see a full planned out VXS show going forward. So yeah, I would watch another show of this. Absolutely.
Well, there is another one coming up August 7th, which is a Saturday from Westville, New Jersey. It is VXS Party All the Time.
Oh yeah, they played a fucking video package.
Which, in that little video package, teased the returns of Too Cold Scorpio, Rich Swann, and Homicide, and Brian Cage. So I expect to probably see them on the card. But as a live person seeing it, this is my second VXS show going to live. I think this is my fourth show in general watching from them. They're putting on content that it's 3 hours, it's easy, it's breezy, it's beautiful. Cover girl.
All right, everyone, that's gonna do it for us here at the Four Post Massacre Podcast. You can check out DASHON Walton at the Carpe Diem Network. You can just type that in on YouTube. You can check out shows like Ring of Valiance and She-Wolves Underground, both very good shows. Very well, should check them out. I know he has a fucking Twitter, but considering that he just lost his other Twitter, I can't remember what the fucking @ is. I'm sure. It is at RealDMWalton3 on Twitter. So if you want to do that, go follow him there. But for the rest of us, that's gonna do it for us on this episode of the Four Post Massacre Podcast. Adam, do you have anything substantial to say to close us out here?
Yes. Support indie wrestling. It's the best wrestling there is today. That's not AEW on TV. You're gonna get you're gonna get what you want and what you think wrestling used to be, and that's fun, entertainment, easy, breezy shows, a variety of any kind of style you can get. You could think of plenty of people that get in backing. The young crowd is what we have to support because they're our future. And Ricochet in pants.
I'm so sick of you. All right, that's gonna about do it for us here. For me, Simply Zaya, from the Kevin Hash, Adam Jackpot, and
Kevin
from
Hash.
Deshaun Walton. We will see you next time, guys.